Boys in the back. Boys in the back.
What is good? How are we doing? I am one half of the Boys in the Back, Connor Burks, joined alongside my man, Eric Jackman, as always. Does it feel like we're rushing? Does it feel like the blood is pumping, the heart are racing?
I'm ready to go.
Yeah, it's been a wild last about 14 or so hours in the world of combat sports. Last night, Dana White went live on Instagram and just had a slew of announcements for UFC fans. Bombs, to say the least. We've got Ilia Topuria vacating his featherweight title.
Out.
Volk, because of that, will be fighting Diego Lopez in the main event in Miami for the vacant featherweight title. On UFC 314, Michael Chandler and Patty in the co-main. Pitbull, signed with the UFC. He'll be fighting Yair on that card. Carlos Praches returns. He will be fighting Jeff Neal. Shavkat is hurt, so JDM will step in to fight Bilal in the main event for the welterweight title at UFC 315 in Montreal, which means Sean Brady will step in at UFC London to fight Leon Edwards. Also on that 315 card, Valentina Shevchenko will be fighting Manon Fiorot in the co-main in Montreal on UFC 315. And honestly, I'm sure someone's like, oh yeah, you're also forgetting XYZ happened. There was just so much. And then on top of that, right now, live and breaking, late and breaking, whatever they say on the news channel.
Real time, happening right now.
Real time, we find out of Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, that Daniel Dubois is out of his fight against Joseph Parker. The ring has learned. Ariel Helwani has learned. So let's bring in our man, Ariel Helwani. Ariel, is the head just spinning right now? Is it just spinning?
What a time, guys. What a freaking time in the world of combat sports. And in addition to all of that, if you're into this sort of thing, we just find out that Victor Wembanyama is out for the entire season. Thrombosis, something of that nature?
Deep vein thrombosis.
Yes. What the hell, man? There's a lot of news to digest. Where shall we start? I guess we should start with Riyadh because that's the newest news, if you will. Yeah, the Ring first reported that Daniel Dubois has fallen ill and that they were seeking a replacement. Names like Lawrence Okoli, David Adelaide thrown around. And of course, this is just a day after we found out that Josh Padley was replacing Floyd Schofield, Kid Austin, against Shakur Stevenson, also due to some kind of illness. Not exactly sure what is happening, where this is all coming from, but bad news for a card that was super stacked. It's still stacked, but not great. And so I poked around. I found out that the press conference that was scheduled for around this time in Riyadh has been pushed back a little bit. Joseph Parker is at the press conference. Daniel Dubois, of course, is not. And I'm being told right now that the fight is off and that they are hoping to find a replacement. Just to let you know, the card is in 48 hours. And I'm gutted for Joseph Parker. You all know how I feel about Joseph Parker. The fact that he has now, the possibility in front of him of fighting someone who is not a title holder. He wanted to win that IBF title. We had George Lockhart on the show 2 days ago who told us that Joseph specifically said that his dream for this year was to win the IBF title. Why that title specifically, I'm still unclear, but it was right there in front of him. It was Dubois, and of course that was the ticket to get to Alexander Usyk, who has now proclaimed that he has 2 fights left, and all of a sudden he's staring at a situation where he may not get Dubois, he may not get that title, and he fights a guy who has nothing to lose potentially on 2 days' notice, or maybe just fights no one. Hopefully he stays on the card. Hopefully he fights someone. And hopefully if he prevails, he still gets Usyk, not for undisputed, but that's still the big ticket fight. So all of a sudden, this week in Riyadh has seen a lot of twists and turns. The main event still intact, thank God. But let's see how this all plays out over the next 48 hours or so.
Yeah, crazy story. And you may or may not, I'm just lobbing it out there. Do you have any sense of what options they're exploring for a potential opponent? Is it Zhang? Is it somebody else on the card? Are they looking completely elsewhere? Is it a guarantee that Parker stays on the card even if they do find somebody? Is it too early to say?
Yeah, it's no guarantee at this time. The names that have been thrown out by the Ring, who of course is owned by Turki Al-Sheikh, Murad Aliyev, Lawrence Okoli, David Adelaide, these are the names thrown out. So it's not been a move Zhang up top to the co-main event slot. You'll recall Joseph Parker's last fight was against Zhilei Zhang in March of last year on the Francis Ngannou versus AJ fight. So not a lot for him to gain from that. But man, 48 hours is tough. Plus, it's not exactly like they're around the block. They're in Riyadh, you know, and I know Riyadh is a 6-7 hour flight from London. So we're talking about some European fighters here, but not a great situation. Again, the main event intact. It's one thing when you find out about Shakur's opponent falling out, you know, on Tuesday. That's a little time. But remember, by the time this guy flies over, you know, it's already 9 p.m. over there. Weigh-ins are tomorrow. I don't know if they could pull it off in time. And I'm just absolutely gutted for Joseph Parker. I mean, you think about this guy, everything that he has had to do to get back to this point. George Lockhart talking about living with him in New Zealand. He spends the majority of his camp in Ireland with Andy Lee. And for him to be this close and for the fight to fall through, gutted for him and gutted for Dubois as well, because this was his ticket. Let's be honest, this was his ticket to get to Alexander Usyk too. He wanted that rematch of that somewhat controversial fight that happened in August of 2023. So I'm gutted for both of them, and most importantly, we hope that Dubois is okay.
Yeah.
You know, think about these guys; they are superhuman. For him to be in this kind of state is somewhat surprising, and it's not like he's, you know, cutting an enormous amount of weight. Sometimes people pick up illnesses when they're dehydrated, they're sunken in, they're depleted. He's a big boy, he's a heavyweight, but he's not cutting 30, 40 pounds. And so for him to be in a situation where he has to withdraw, unfortunately, it has to be somewhat serious.
The problem with this situation is that there's not much upside for either fighter, right? In Parker's situation, he was fighting for a championship. It was not his championship. He was fighting for Dubois' championship. And if you're the fighter potentially stepping in on short notice, you are not fighting for a championship, right? The champion is not the one who remains in the fight. And so with the amount of time left, it feels like there's little upside. My mind instantly went to somebody who's still on the card because at least Zhang and his opponent were preparing for the fight, and you could easily make that happen as opposed to flying somebody in. But to your point, that's his last win for Parker. Like, what's the upside? It's a bad situation. It's a real sticky one to kind of be in. But hopefully everybody's happy, healthy, and Parker can remain on the card. And
I don't know if they're happy, but
yeah, I don't know if they're happy, and I'm not quite sure if Dubois is healthy either.
Hopefully he's healthy. I hope there's no.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like there's really no real gain for Joseph Parker, especially like
or his opponent.
He's still young in this game. It's just sort of like, we're just gonna.
Well, unless they tell him, "Yo, take this fight, stay on the card, and you got Usyk next if you win."
Yeah. I mean, there's the motivation right there.
Yeah, that could be something.
That's enough motivation to get it done.
If you're Usyk, I don't know if you say, yeah, I'll fight him no matter what. But again, too early. We'll see what happens here.
I think Usyk will be motivated to fight a Joseph Parker who's on a roll like this because he hasn't fought him before. He's a fresh opponent, and he's looked very good as of late. But
do you think having the IBF title to make it undisputed matters to Usyk?
He doesn't have the belt.
Not really. I mean, the rematch against Fury didn't have the IBF because they took it away from him to make the Dubois-Joshua fight, and he still did that. He did it. He climbed the mountaintop to become undisputed champion at cruiserweight. He climbed the mountaintop to be undisputed champion at heavyweight. The IBF screwed that up 2 weeks later, and so I think at this point he doesn't really care. 2 fights left. Let me beat the 2 best guys, maybe sneak in an Alex Pereira super fight, and we call it a career.
Still card of the century with the hits it's taken?
I could live with that when Schofield was pulled out.
I think this one
Josh
hurts.
Padley's a good story, but this hurts. This hurts. Especially if Parker's off the card totally.
Now you're down to 6 fights too, and this was the co-main.
You know what's crazy about that? I was just thinking the 2 fights and the 2 stories that I was most into were Shakur and Parker. Those were like the 2 most interesting storylines for me going into this card. And both those fights have taken a hit. Not the curtain jerker, not the one that would sell out in Liverpool, the one that everyone always talks about, Boazzi Smith, but these 2.
All right, let's get into last night. Dana White goes live on Instagram.
What a time.
Bomb after bomb. I mean, you already had a reaction. We saw it on the YouTube channel and everything like that. What do you make of it, man? I mean, it's hard to digest everything that happened.
I mean, can we also just talk about my camera? It's gotten a lot better. Has it not?
It looks insane. The pink baklava is popping off the hoodie. It looks great, man. Shout out to
people were saying it's 4K Helwani. I mean, if you only knew the setup that we had here, maybe I should do like a BTS photo of what exactly we're working with here. But I guess some things are better left between us friends behind the scenes. Yes, crazy time. If I could just give you my POV, we get the tweet, we get the teaser, then we get the announcement that an announcement is coming, and then we're kind of in the no man's land. And if I'm being honest, Wednesday nights, I'm pretty tired. We've just done 4 shows in the span of 3 days. Try to get to bed a little early, and now I'm just sitting around. There was once a time where I'd be digging and trying to break some news here. This is the bat signal, but I'm older and I guess a little different, wired differently these days. So then I wonder, do you take the shower? Do you not take the shower? Of course you take the shower. You come out of the shower and it all pops off. And so you've run down all the news, and there's so many different permutations here. I think that we would all agree that the top story, the lead, if you will, is that Ilia Topuria is no longer the UFC featherweight champion. Now, you can technically say he's the featherweight champion up until April 12th. That's what they like to say, right? Up until, the fight starts, he's the featherweight champ, which is fine. I could live with that. But technically, the next time he fights won't be as a featherweight, and it won't be defending that title. As you mentioned, it's Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez, and it's crazy. We were just talking on the show yesterday. They got to announce something, and then they announced everything and then some. And so now it's for the vacant title. Now, there's a few things that I'd like to add after talking to people and doing some reporting. The big question is, why couldn't he have just kept the belt? We've seen this, right? We've seen it with Volk. Volk moved up to 155 to fight Islam Makhachev, and he kept the belt. He kept the belt twice. He didn't have to give it up. Well, 2 things were working against Ilia Topuria. Actually, I'll say 3 things. Number one, my understanding is the UFC isn't a fan of this right now. They're not a huge fan of champion versus champion, and one guy keeps the belt. If only because they got a lot of pay-per-views to fill. They're trying to put on, the most stacked cards with the most title fights, and they don't like holding up divisions. That has often been their stance, but I'm told as of late, unless it's like an incredible circumstance, they're not a huge fan of it. Witness Pereira talk of moving up to fight John Jones. Dana White not so into that unless he vacates. That's number one. Number 2, they needed a main event for Miami, and Miami's in April in 2 months, and if he's going to fight, if Topuria is going to fight in June or later in the year in October, what are you doing in Miami? You're going to headline it with an interim title fight. Doesn't quite have the same panache. And so that was working against him. And number 3, which has been confirmed today by his manager, Malki Kawa, the weight cuts were getting really hard. The weight cuts were really getting hard. He's fought at 155. He's scored wins at 155. And he just wants to fight at 155. And so I think some of us owe Ilia Topuria an apology, because I think when he was talking about this a month or 2 ago, we were like, come on, man, you only defended the title once. There are still some fights out there. There's the rematch against Volkanovski. There's a Diego Lopez fight. On and on it goes. You're not going to really move up. You're not going to vacate the title. And he was telling the truth. He's moving up and he's vacating the title. And so the plan is for him to fight Islam Makhachev later this year. There's a hope that it could happen as soon as International Fight Week. That's not 100%. That's probably the reason why they didn't announce it yesterday. It could happen later in the year. There's a ton more pay-per-views post-June. What is it, the 28th? There's one in mid to late July. Then there's August. And, of course, there's Abu Dhabi in October. It feels International Fight Week worthy, if you ask me. This feels like a gigantic fight, a super fight, a featherweight champion moving up to fight the best lightweight in the world, and in many people's eyes, the pound-for-pound best. But all those reasons are why he is technically no longer the featherweight champion right now. I kind of wish from a promotional standpoint we were getting champion versus champion. It just looks better. But spoiler, I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up with that belt, just like he showed up with the BMF title when he fought Max Holloway and says, I'm still the king. No one took this from me.
Yeah, this is a pretty unique circumstance. So I want to dive a little bit deeper on that. It's not often we see the champion not able to defend their belt because they can no longer kind of compete in that weight class, right? Often, as you've said, the champion has ambitions to be a double champion, wants to go up, wants to maintain the belt. Volkanovski, we saw hold on to the belt and come back down. What is the sense on why Ilia Topuria months ago was able to make the weight and defend his title and now is no longer?
In essence, because he had to. He had to make the weight to fight Josh Emmett to get to the title fight. He had to make the weight when he fought for the belt, and he had to make the weight when he had the Max Holloway, gigantic fight right in front of him. But in his mind, he doesn't have to make the weight anymore. He's been there, done that, and there are potentially bigger fights, you can make a very strong case, as much as I love Alex Volkanovski, that for him, the bigger fight is Islam Makhachev, right? There's a back and forth, there's a history, and Makhachev has looked so good as of late. And so I don't think that motivation to kill himself, you know what I mean, to deplete himself, to cut massive amount of weight on fight week and all that stuff, I don't think it's there anymore. And so there's a massive fight. And can I be honest with you guys, as much as I'm kind of bummed for Volk, I have so many mixed emotions with all these announcements. Bummed for Volk, happy he's still getting a title fight, happy for Diego Lopez, what a story. Excited for Ilia Topuria, excited for the opportunity. And if I'm being honest, Ilia versus Islam interests me a lot more right now than Islam versus Charles too. Am I crazy?
No.
We saw it. I don't think we were going to see a different result. This is fresh. This is fun. This feels special.
It's very fresh. It's very fun. I am with you just with how good Islam is and how good he's looked in his recent fights. I'm not, super hyped for the Charles Oliveira fight. And now I'm just curious just to see how far Ilia can take this, because in my opinion, and maybe this is a good question for both y'all, I've seen some people throw out like the injected into my veins and it's Topuria and Dustin Poirier, or some people threw out, true number one contender against Arman.
No.
I feel like if he's going up, he is doing this to fight Islam Makhachev, and there is no other option for Ilia Topuria. He's proven, he's undefeated, he's a top 5 pound-for-pound fighter right now. The fight is Islam.
100%. You think this dude is vacating his title and all the perks that come with that to fight a number one contender fight? There is no chance.
On the other end of that, if you're a Dustin Poirier fan, do we really want to see that? Do we really want to see this man kill a third legend potentially? He knocks out Alexander Volkanovski, knocks out Max Holloway, goes and knocks out Dustin Poirier too. Like, he can't keep getting away with this. Give him Islam. Give it for the 155 title.
Also, I've never specifically asked him this, and I don't know if anyone else has, but, Arman representing Georgia, I don't know how much he would love to fight an Arman Tsarukyan, perhaps for a belt. Let's see. But there is no way. And quite frankly, like, he deserves a lot of praise. Historically, the champ doesn't give up the belt when he moves up. Historically, the champ keeps that belt. Dating back to the likes of BJ Penn moving up to 170 at UFC 94, he kept his 55-pound belt. Volkanovski kept his belt. Now, the Conor situation was a little different. He was essentially forced to give it up because they just needed something. But they let him keep it for a very, very long time before taking it away from him. So the point is, he deserves a lot of credit. He moves up and fights Islam, and if it doesn't go his way, and of course it can, I don't know what the odds are, but Islam is that damn good, he's now left beltless. He doesn't have that security blanket, and I think that just ups the stakes going into this fight.
Yeah, I think it increases the stakes, and it speaks to what he believes are his chances, right? Because to the point that you've made, and I've kind of danced around as well, holding onto that belt gives you that security. It gives you that fallback. It gives you that blanket. It gives you that soft landing if you are unsuccessful in your attempt at moving up. He doesn't have that. He's only got the opportunity to dethrone the number one pound-for-pound fighter in the world and become the lightweight champion himself. And so he's taken the risk. He's taken the gamble. I think he believes in himself to a degree that we haven't seen in a long time. And it reminds me of Conor McGregor. He continues to kind of remind me of Conor McGregor. But yeah, I think he deserves credit, to your point, for not trying to have that kind of like fallback plan. Now, at the same time, I do wonder if the UFC would have even given him the opportunity at an Islam, right? If he still held that belt. It sounds like, to what you're saying, they're not really interested in those types of fights at the moment. So I think it was almost like these things all aligned at the same time for him to go up and potentially face Islam. But yeah, I'm with you and GC. I don't want to see him against a contender. It just doesn't make any sense. There's no reason to give up the belt.
People throwing it out. It's just I just don't understand it at all. I mean, this guy is a massive superstar. He is one of the biggest superstars that the UFC has.
You could just go fight Volk instead.
He's a top 5 pound for pound. Right. You could just go fight Volk instead of a Poirier. Someone threw out to me Gamrot. I was like, man, I'm going to stop watching UFC.
Are you out of your mind?
If they do Ilia Gamrot, like, you can't actually be serious with that suggestion. By the way, some look ahead.
Can we get a breaking news? Could we just get a breaking news?
Okay, okay. Wow. More breaking news.
Why did that sound so weird in my ears, Frank? That sounded so different. I don't know. It didn't say. Can I hear it again?
Actually, 1 second.
Okay.
What's
standing
going on
by?
now?
It didn't sound like the normal music.
I'm on.
Did you guys hear it?
What's going on right now?
Yeah, it sounded fine.
There it is. Okay. No, it's maybe not as big as you think, but I'm literally watching one championship at the same time. There's so much going on in the world of combat sports, and Roberto Soldic a vicious knockout, a left hook from hell, his opponent falling face first a la Ric Flair. Do you see this?
I got
This
it on
is
right now, baby.
It's insanity. Go look at the knockout.
Yeah, no, I saw it. I was watching it live. Yeah,
Oh
are we
my
going to get
God.
dinged for that? Are we going to get dinged for that? Chatri, don't come after us. Don't come after us, man.
Literally everything's happening right now. In Qatar, there's one championship. In Riyadh, there's press conferences and fights falling off. Their pets' birds' heads are falling off. And there's big fights being made. That was a dumb reference.
Soldich, round 1 KO. We're about to get John Haggerty, and then Jared Brooks and Passio in the main event. A lot going on. All I was going to say, look ahead odds. Islam Makhachev right now, -280. Ilia Topuria, +220.
Wow.
Interesting.
What do you think of that?
I don't know.
Value on Islam.
I was gonna say, value on Islam.
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
big time.
You give me big plus money on Ilia Topuria. I'm gonna have a hard time not taking it.
Could not be more opposite direction. I don't think he has a chance in hell.
What was the interview where he came out and he was just like, no one's ever submitted him? I'll be the first to submit him. He was like, I'm going to be the first to knock out Max Holloway. There just has to get to a point where you just believe what he says he's going to do.
Oh, I've seen this in practice when it came to Mr. Conor McGregor. But yeah, it's just you see him standing next to Max Holloway, and it gives you a pretty clear indication of how outgunned he is going to be standing next to Islam Makhachev.
Is Ilia Topuria Islam Makhachev the biggest fight you can make outside of a Conor McGregor or Jones Aspinall?
Oh, I wasn't even thinking Conor at this point, if I'm being 100% honest. But what a fallback plan, right? If they can't get Jones Aspinall, and the clock is certainly ticking, I mean, I'm not going to say it's Jones Aspinall-esque, but it's pretty damn big. I think about the press conferences, the buzz, like the heat between them, the story of the guy moving up. I have been jonesing for something like this. I feel like, you know, we've kind of been going through the motions, maybe because everything has just been so kind of, what made yesterday fun is that I feel like it was just like, okay, we know that this guy's next for this guy and this guy's next. And there was no like, oh shit moments. Armin pulling out was oh shit, but it was like a bad kind of oh shit. This was like, oh shit, X, Y, and Z happened. It felt, not to be the old guy, but it felt very old school. Like it felt like we had seen these back in the day, and it's been a while since we got an avalanche of news like this. So yes, all to say, I think it's a pretty damn good backup plan. Do you not agree?
No, I love it.
It's a great plan.
For International Fight Week, that feels like an International Fight Week fight. And I understand that in the official rankings, they're not 1 and 2 pound for pound. And Ilia technically won't have the belt at that point. But it's just like the names that these provide, the star power, the skill, everything that goes into it. This is like, this might be Jones and Aspinall. This is 1-2, Jones Aspinall, Ilia Islam. It's right there for me. I absolutely love it. I think it's perfect for International Fight Week.
It's a fantastic plan. But is there a potential monkey wrench in the plan?
Ooh, tell me.
And that monkey wrench being one Islam Makhachev, who just recently said about Ilia Topuria, I'm not going to give Ilia Topuria a chance right away. He didn't do all the work he had to do in his weight class. Ariel, do you believe that there's any potential for Islam Makhachev to refuse this fight, to shut this down, or are we operating under the assumption that Ilia would not have done this without some assurances?
The UFC really likes Ilia Topuria. They aren't letting him do this. He is not doing this without that assurance. It's just not happening. Ilia Topuria is a superstar. He ain't just some guy who's like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to take my chances. I'll give up the belt. I worked my ass off to get here. And then Islam's going to be like, thanks, but no thanks. And by the way, if I'm Islam, I'm saying yes to this fight. And I know that he has had to now fight the featherweight champion if this comes to fruition 3 times. He does deserve that opportunity to make his own kind of history, if you will, by moving up. I think he's been a good soldier. But this is bigger, in my opinion, than the Charles fight, and it's an opportunity for him to headline a big show. If it is on International Fight Week, if it's not, it's still going to be massive. It's going to be one of the biggest fights of the year as far as MMA is concerned. So, no.
I think I know the quote graphic and he says that and everything, but I think if UFC and Dana White come to him and they're just like, this is the fight, he'll go, all right, sounds good.
I agree with you.
I'm game.
Yeah. I mean, look what he did with Moicano. He doesn't really strike me as the kind of guy who's picking and choosing, right? I mean, that was the whole beauty of that moment. He's like, yeah, just let me know who it is. So why would this be any different?
What is your better option at the moment, right? There is no better option, right?
Charles.
It's all rematches. You've already beaten Charles. Going up to 170 doesn't seem in the cards right now, especially him and Bilal talking about that. And Bilal just got booked. Like, it just doesn't really feel like there's a better option anyway. What
do you do now? Armin Charles too?
Yeah, why not?
Get the winner of Ilia and Islam?
Sure. Totally down.
Don't hate it. Don't hate it. Yeah, there's a lot of different directions. Can we talk about the 170-pound division? Because that was the other side of this. You mentioned Bilal. And, my understanding is this has kind of been in the works for about 2 to 3 weeks. And by the way, kudos to everyone involved. They kept this very much under their hat. But around Friday of last week, I started to catch wind of the fact that something was up. And I alluded to it a couple of times on the show. I'm not trying to take credit for this at all. This is not one of those things, but I'm just letting you know how long ago this has been in the works. And so basically, they found out that Shavkat can't fight in May. They wanted Belal to fight on that Montreal card. As we said, it had a Belal title defense written all over it. And my understanding is that Shavkat is going to be able to return late July, early August. And so the timing just didn't work out. And so they were faced with a situation, all right, what are they going to do? Do they go with Leon Edwards? That would be a trilogy fight. They weren't happy with the last fight, and they didn't feel like it warranted an immediate rematch. Plus, you don't want to take Leon Edwards away from London. He's the big draw on that card, which is a little thin at the moment as far as the big stars. And so the next option is Jack Della Maddalena. Do you move Jack Della Maddalena from March 22nd and bring him to Montreal? And if you do that, what do you do with Leon Edwards? And so names were discussed. The likes of Carlos Praches was discussed. The likes of Ian Gary discussed as well. There were a bunch of different names. You're looking at the rankings right now. Those were some of the names. Usman, to the best of my knowledge, not discussed. And they settled on Sean Brady, who recently welcomed a baby into this world, and we wish him and his wife all the best.
He had the kid.
Well, I think he told us. Didn't he tell us that it was going to happen around this time?
Around on the 13th. We don't know if it's happened or not yet. I mean, that's excuse number one. Now we have excuse number two. We can get into that later, though.
Okay, so my apologies. What I meant to say was we suspect that around this time,
if
it was the 13th.
He's expecting.
Yes. And he told us that, look, usually I wouldn't jump to fight so soon, but this would be a big opportunity. This is when he wanted the fight. And so they knew he was game. He takes the fight. He's now co-headlining March 22nd in London. Leon remains on the card. And they move JDM to Montreal. Belal defends his title. And shout out to JDM, who hasn't fought since March of last year, who broke his forearm, who had the infection, who's coming off that win over Gilbert Burns and going straight into a title fight. It's a big opportunity for him, but there were a lot of moving parts here, and ultimately they settled on this, as opposed to just moving Belal Shavkat to late July, August, and everything remains intact.
I love this for Belal Muhammad. Well, here we go. Show that thing off. Let's show that thing off. Jack Della. I love this for Belal because it gives him the clout. It gives him the prestige of saying, like, I was willing to sign on the dotted line, face the guy that you all think is the boogeyman Shavkat, and then not even have to face him and get what I feel is an easier matchup for him and get a title defense under his belt. It could not have worked out better for Belal Muhammad, if I'm being honest. I love this for him.
All right, well, you say that. Belal tweeting, dang, I stole Leon's belt and his opponent.
Yeah.
That's actually not bad. Minus 220. Jack Della Maddalena plus 185 in that matchup.
Yeah, it feels like a tough stylistic fight for Jack there. I feel like Belal is going to have some real success against Jack, but kudos to him for stepping into that opportunity. It sounds like they contacted a lot of the other welterweight contenders, and he was the one who was game.
Oh, we lost all the AH.
We lost AH.
All the breaking news messed up his
frazzled
connection.
He was talking about upgrade his cameras. Now we just need to upgrade the internet.
Or maybe he was about to give us even more breaking news, and there was the CIA came in. The CIA came in and shut it down.
You'll lose me. I'm still here.
Oh,
I'm still here.
Oh,
I'm still here.
Wow.
Can you see me?
There
or no?
he is.
It's
wow.
Just my computer was about to die. My computer was about to die. I wrote it in the chat.
Wow.
I wrote. Yeah. I need to get the charger.
I'm not reading the chat. I'm locked in on this combo, man. No screen. No screen.
They gave us the heads up on that after we waited 30 seconds in silence for you to speak. So it was good.
Big appearance on Boys in the Back. Can't even be bothered to grab the charger. Okay.
Yeah.
We were up late. We were up late till like 12:30 making videos. I got my phone here acting as my camera.
Who the fuck is we?
How close were you to going to bed last night? Because I legit, I can't even lie to you guys. Teeth were brushed, contacts were out.
Oh yeah.
I was kind of doing like the lip smacking, just like, all right.
Oh, I was
like time to head to bed. And then I got a text from Shaheen Al-Shadi being like, "Oh, yo, breaking news is out."
Out of habit, though, don't you have to stay around for the Dana White? Like, I've got something dropping, even if it's bullshit. Even if in the rare times it is bullshit.
Sometimes you kind of like start thinking like, all right, maybe he's just like not going to drop, and it's just going to be a little power slap thing. It was like because it came out that he was going to make an announcement at like 6 or 7, and then at 7:45 we got the long. Yeah, like 7:45 he was like, okay, I just wanted to announce that I'll be making an announcement as soon as I finish filming this episode of Tough. And then I just was like, all right, when's this thing coming?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like a lot of times when the announcement gets pushed back, they're dotting the I's and crossing the T's on some of this stuff and getting it in place. And based on how many different things they just dropped on us yesterday, there was a lot of I's to dot and T's to cross. So I can understand why it took a while.
What do we think of the IG Live as opposed to the pre-taped video?
I like a more succinct announcement. He starts being like, "Oh, hey, this guy's here," and that guy. I mean, like,
he was hopping in the chat. He's like, "Do you guys like this? I can interact a little bit."
Like,
I was in the chat. I was talking a little shit in there. I was like, "Yeah." It was,
Were you?
good stuff. Oh, yeah.
How many people were watching live? How many people were watching live?
There was like 45,000 people watching. Like, he showed the Miami thing in the war room. He's like, yeah, there you go. And everyone was in the chat. They were like, it's backwards. We can't read that. So I hopped in on the bandwagon.
I like the live.
I was like, F's in the chat, F's in the chat. No, I liked it. By
the way, more breaking news.
I can't stomach much more of this.
This, according to Sky Sports, we're all over the world here. Breaking, Clarissa Shields has been suspended from fighting in the state of Michigan by the Michigan Unarmed Combat Commission and is under investigation after testing positive for marijuana.
Wow.
What? What?
That's fucking
I thought she was stepping onto the Riyadh card for a second.
Clarissa Shields, heavyweight title.
For
Clarissa Shields,
marijuana?
Joseph Parker.
In our home state?
What?
I thought marijuana wasn't a thing anymore.
Yeah.
I thought
Is
like
it?
people
Well,
were
it's a
okay
thing.
with
I
the
just didn't think it was
whack-a-tobacco.
Yeah, I
an
didn't think
illegal
it was.
thing.
It was prohibited substance at this point.
Anyway,
That's
I
bizarre.
don't mean to...
It's a real slap in the face for Clarissa, who reps the state of Michigan like to the highest degree and like brings big events there, to then be like, nah, we're gonna do this. I don't know. That's just me personally. You had me scared for a second, if I'm being honest. Like once you started reading that in the suspension, my heart fluttered a little bit.
Yeah, no,
I had a
I was
palpitation
scared as I was reading it. I was reading
but
it
thankfully,
as well,
it sounds like
all
it's
of you.
just bullshit. Ariel, before
Can we talk
lost
about
you,
what I can I just talk about? Oh, sorry, you had a question. Sorry.
I do want to ask.
Things.
You mentioned a lot of different names that were potentially in the running for this title fight. Why did it ultimately end up being JDM?
Other names were discussed. Most of them were discussed to fight Leon. I think
see.
they
So,
felt.
Got it.
Yeah.
This was the
I think
fill-in. JDM was the guy that they pegged for this off jump. Okay, got it.
They felt like this was the most worthy of the challengers, and hard to argue against it. Obviously, the Carlos Praches of the world. The who else would be in that mix? I guess Kamaru Usman, although he hasn't fought in quite some time. Leon had a very strong case as well.
Carlos
but I think
Praches
they
was
felt-
considered for Bilal, not just the Leon fight.
No. I'm saying
okay,
these are the potential options, right? These were the potential
Oh, yeah.
options. Gary, by the way, I didn't hate the idea of Gary getting the title shot. I know he's coming off
wouldn't
the
hate it.
loss, but people have come off losses and gotten title shots. Famously, Alexander Gustafsson got knocked out and got a title shot afterwards.
He fought very close
against
to
Daniel
Shavkat, too.
Cormier.
He just took Shavkat to a close decision.
But you know what? I don't mind JDM, one of our own. He's one of our own, and yes, as you know, the spokesperson for the Montreal combat community, he is one of our own. I understand he might be going to Montreal next week, and I told the squad, I said, guys, I don't know if you know about the record snowfall and cold temperatures in Montreal right now. You might want to bring a wee coat from Perth because it ain't summertime over in Montreal right now. And I showed them some videos and they were like, holy shit. So God bless.
Let's go link
JDM.
up. Let's hit the
by the
orange
way-
julep. Get some
by the
skating
way-
at JDM.
Not exactly a hop, skip, and a jump from Perth to Montreal with the fight being less than 2 months away. You know what I mean? No, is it 2? No, it's 3 months away. 3 months away.
So
Still.
Perth is actually
No
the
fun.
farthest city in the world from New York City, so I'd imagine Montreal is pretty much the same. So yeah, like the opposite side of the world for him.
Yeah. No, it's a tall task. It's a big ask, but I think it's cool. Listen, sucks. We wanted that Shavkat fight, and like I said yesterday, the bad luck on this guy. Holy crap! He's supposed to fight for the belt in December, and Bilal gets hurt. He takes the fight against Ian Gary. Not even an interim title fight. Not even an interim. He doesn't even get that ticket. And then they say, all right, you're fighting in May. Now he's not good to go. Ian Gary tweeting a video yesterday. Did you see this of him kicking Shavkat's knee? And he said basically like, I'm just going to leave this here, perhaps insinuating that he he
Did the
was the one who
damage,
caused the knee injury. But nevertheless, I feel for Shavkat. My hunch is he's not being punished. He's not going to be reprimanded or anything like that for not being able to fight. I think the plan would be for him to fight the winner of this fight.
It's giving big Hamza vibes to me. Like, it just feels like these are the guys in waiting, the monsters waiting at the in the shadows of the division, and just can't seem to get the momentum going to get in there. Hopefully we do get Hamzat in the next one against DDP, and hopefully we do get Shavkat facing the winner of this fight. But I think this is a great fight. I'm perfectly happy with this as the backup.
Yeah, I mean
I'm cool with it. Yeah,
you got an incredible striker in JDM who has had a susceptible ground game in the past where Bilal can thrive, and we'll see if he can do that over the course of 5 rounds. It would be fascinating. I mean, JDM about to lose to Gilbert Burns is able to get out of the grappling position and get a finish with a huge knee. Like, it's like he's that close to losing, and now he's fighting for a title in the very next fight. It's crazy how this game works. It's all about just availability and timing.
Yeah, Ariel, before I interrupted with that question, you were about to say something that seemed important.
I was just going to say the one that is like, what can I equate it to? The one that's just like comfort food. The one that's just like, a fun time on a Saturday night is Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett. Like, I don't even know how to describe Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett, but that is just fun. It is extremely fun. I actually think the matchmaking is brilliant. It's a chance for Chandler to get back on track. It's a somewhat righting of the wrong of the Conor situation. Paddy not on the level of Conor, but pretty damn famous. You can make the case top 10 most famous fighters in the UFC right now in the sport. So you get a win over Paddy. You're the guy who gives him his first loss in the UFC. It's a nice consolation prize. And for Paddy, it was time to move up. It was time to get the career going, right? And Michael, I'm not suggesting, is a gatekeeper, not at all. But he's a litmus test. You get by Michael, okay, now we know who you are in the 155-pound division. And so I really dig that fight. 5 rounds, co-main event. They keep bringing bangers to Miami, and that is just an amazing fight. Like, the stories, the stakes, the directions that each go with a win and with a loss. Chandler losing to Pimblett sets him all the way back. Pimblett losing to Chandler, fraud checked, all this bullshit. Like, I think it's fantastic. I freaking love it.
On top of everything you're saying, they're going to do an incredible job leading into the fight. The buildup is going to be fantastic. And then Iron Mike Chandler's getting in there. I can imagine it's going to be exciting. Paddy Pimblett, known for getting finishes as well. Like, I am with you. That was one that I saw when it got made. I was like, I love it. I love it. I know Chandler had called him out for 317, but let's do it even earlier. I love it.
No matter what Chandler got that wasn't Conor McGregor was going to be a step down. So it doesn't, like, there was no option that we were going to be like, you know what? It was really worth waiting all that time, Mike, to strike out in the Conor fight. You did it. You landed right where you needed to be. This is a great outcome.
I literally think only him winning the belt would be the only way
that
it's just like, well, he missed out on the Conor fight, but he got the belt.
If that fake scenario that was out on X where Michael Chandler was stepping in to fight Islam had happened, then that would have been the only acceptable answer. But I love the fight between Paddy and Chandler. I think it's a perfect measuring stick, as you said, Ariel, for where Paddy is, and also an opportunity for Chandler to really potentially get a win under his belt and get back in those conversations, because I think a win over Paddy Pimblett on that stage really puts him back in that conversation in a way that I don't know if ex-contender on a random other pay-per-view or fight night does.
And by the way, Chandler's old running mate making his UFC debut on the card, finally, Patricio Pitbull.
I was just about to ask you.
I mean, that in itself would be massive, breaking news to start the show. Oh, yeah, by the way, he's fighting a long time fixture at 145 in the UFC, Yair Rodriguez. I mean, what the hell? What a freaking triple header that is. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I think this is to me, this feels like the Michael Chandler playbook all over again, in terms of the UFC is bringing in somebody, we'll call it Bellator just because Bellator dissolved, but I'm going to call it Bellator because that's where he did most of his work, Patricio Pitbull, that is. You come in from Bellator, you get a big opportunity, right? Like Michael Chandler did against Dan Hooker when he made his debut, and you get a real chance to say, I'm here, I'm arrived, I've been as good as all these guys, and I just needed the opportunity to prove it. Get a big win here over Yair Rodriguez, and I think Patricio Pitbull enters that fast track to title talk conversation. he's been saying for years, like, he's better than Ilia, he's better than Alexander Volkanovski. I think there's a real opportunity if he can get past Yair Rodriguez to fight one more, or maybe even be in line for a title opportunity, which is exactly what you want at somebody who's at that advanced age in his career. And really, these are the last couple of fights we're going to get out of him. I'm excited about his debut, but I feel like this is the perfect kind of booking to really say, I'm here and I'm ready for a title opportunity.
Yeah, and during all of this, like all this madness going on, like there had been a lot of speculations. Obviously, he begged to get out of PFL and Bellator. He tweeted last night, he said the official UFC offer, as an odd coincidence, only came in a couple hours ago. He said that 11:04 p.m. last night. So they really might have been dotting the I's and crossing the T's before Dana made that announcement.
Oh, yeah. Well, I know that about several of the fights, if I'm being 100% honest. I had heard that they were talking about several opponents for him, and for whatever reason, those fights didn't get done. There was that report that came out, and he clarified that it was a reputable outlet, I believe, over in Japan, and the interview was just old. And when he said earlier in the day yesterday that he had not signed, it was in fact true. But then all of this came together rather quickly, all the moving pieces coming together, and by Wednesday evening, it was true. He was in. And it was against Yair Rodriguez. Has he actually signed, dotted the I's, crossed the T's? I'm not quite sure, but he's in, and it's a phenomenal story. Who would have thought in the year 2025 on a UFC pay-per-view we'd get Michael Chandler in a massive co-main event against Paddy Pimblett, Cage Warriors champion, and then you get Patricio Pitbull going up against Yair Rodriguez.
And
just,
the Yair fight is just so perfect. Top 5 featherweight.
Beautiful.
Incredibly exciting.
It's perfect.
It's just like you win, you jump right into the top 5. Maybe Movsar ahead of you at that point. Maybe loser of Lopez and Volk. But it's just like
I wouldn't have a problem him getting a title shot off the win,
dude.
honestly.
And it's going to be an exciting fight
done
too.
enough.
Like Yair always delivers. It's a perfect fight for him to join the UFC.
There's really you can dissect, you can complain, oh wow, Ilia should have kept the belt, this, that. But overall, on the whole, like I give that package of news a 9 to 9.5 out of 10. And I'll put the cherry on top, if you will, and that's they did the right thing by giving Manon Fiorot the title fight.
Yeah.
She's earned it, she deserved it. Dana White at the press conference in Sydney was really insinuating that they might go in the direction of Valentina versus Zhang Weili, or that they're interested. And perhaps what he was trying to say was that if she gets by her next fight, they'll do it, because there's no real clear-cut, obvious person for Zhang. And I'm cool with that. Fly Zhang Weili if she's around to beautiful Montreal. They'll show her a good time, sit in the front row, and she could fight the winner. And of course, if she fights Valentina, that's the one that we all want. But Fiorot has done the job. She has earned it. She's been sitting on the sidelines, patiently waiting, and it will be somewhat 14 or so months between fights for her. I'm really happy that she got the fight, because she deserved it. She was the number one contender, in my opinion.
Do you think with her being French, the people of Montreal are going to adopt her as their own?
Definitely,
Sick.
100%. They love a good French speaker over there in Montreal, and yes, it's not Quebecois French, but it's pretty damn close. And so I will say the two big baby faces on that card will be Manon Fiorot and Bilal Muhammad. Bilal Muhammad will be a big star in Montreal. There are a lot of Muslim fans. There are a lot of Muslim people in Montreal. He represents them, and he is their champion. And I think that they will come out in big numbers to support him.
It's good to. It's going to be good to see him get some shine. Can I just have you guys guess odds for Manon Fiorot, Valentina Shevchenko?
Shevchenko minus 450.
Shevchenko minus 450.
I'm going to say 280.
Shevchenko minus 280. Oh, boys, it sounds like you guys got to head to the window.
She's not the favorite.
Manon Fiorot minus 125.
Shut the fuck.
Valentina Shevchenko plus 105.
Wow.
Valentina Shevchenko plus 105 in that one.
Wow.
I feel like I'm sitting here talking about the Larissa Pacheco and Cyborg line all over again. What is happening in this world?
Or Merab and Umar.
Yeah. There's been
or
some questionable dogs throughout this whole thing. Yeah.
H-Down?
How do you get there?
We'll see. We'll see if it moves. We'll see if it moves. Fascinating stuff. I was very intrigued to see that line.
I don't know what to say, man. I got nothing on that. That's bizarre to me.
What a day, guys. I appreciate you having me. Much love. I'm going to sit back and watch the rest of the show. Can't wait for Fight Feast. And,
if anything else
can't wait for the
breaks,
crack tomorrow.
come
Yes?
back on. Just
Yeah,
stand by.
just give us a dial.
Yeah,
Come back.
if,
Anything breaks,
what
we'll just give us
if Katie Taylor pops for Tylenol or something, should I jump on?
if Katie Taylor gets made at Croke Park, just give us a dial, dude. Yeah.
Katie Taylor's gonna.
What
Katie
is
Taylor's
this
gonna.
marijuana? What?
She's gonna pop for Flintstone vitamins. Katie Taylor.
Wait, one last question for you here. I hate to
yes.
rope you back in. Our very own Shaheen Al-Shadi had a tweet regarding Ilia Topuria. If he's able to fight Islam Makhachev and get the win, would this be the greatest 3-fight winning streak in MMA history? I think he said. Ilia Topuria knocking out Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway, then jumping up a division and dethroning a prime Islam Makhachev would legitimately be the greatest 3-fight run in MMA history. Do you agree?
I mean, it would be pretty damn good.
It's hard to think of a better one.
Pretty damn good. If he knocked out Islam Makhachev.
Oh yeah,
Even if he
knocked
just
him out,
beats
yeah,
Islam.
it would be pretty epic. I was thinking for a second the Conor run, but there was the Diaz loss.
He loses to Nate,
in
yeah.
between. Yeah.
And before that, it's Seaver, which doesn't.
Because it's Aldo win, Diaz loss, then Diaz win, and then Alvarez masterclass. But the loss there in between screws it all up. And so, yeah, I mean, Pereira's had good runs, but the opponents aren't quite as
Intense name value,
famous,
legendary status.
don't have the stature, yeah. So yeah, no, on the spot, it's up there, certainly up there. I don't know if I'll brand it as definitively, because there have been some great runs, obviously, in the past, but I would say 100% up there, and he would cement himself as the biggest star in the sport, in my opinion.
No doubt.
In many respects, the face of the UFC and the freaking man.
It's
The balls on
nearly
that guy.
certainly, like, I can't think of another one off the top of my head, and I don't think I will, just because of the status of, at the time that he beat Volkanovski was still a top pound-for-pound fighter. Max Holloway was maybe not in the top 5, top 10, but he was floating around that range. And then you have Islam Makhachev, who's been the number one for this long. Like, things like that don't happen. And so it would be definitively the best 3-fight run. Like,
Then you'd have to go to Spain. We'd all be on
I think you have to go to Spain anyway. But
Oh yeah,
discussion
Bernabeu,
for another day.
Discussion for another day. That fight has to get booked first. He still has to win the fight. A long way to go before we're actually talking about that. Ariel, thanks so much for joining us, man. We really do appreciate it, brother.
Great show, guys. Thank you.
All right, man, be easy. Oh, man. Dizzying, I would say. Dizzying, to say the least.
There's still so much to think about and talk about.
Well, I just want to keep on the Ilia and Islam thing.
Yeah.
Just like what is on the line in that fight? Islam would be going to attempt to tie Anderson Silva's consecutive win streak with 16, break the lightweight defenses record. He would have 5 at that point.
Did he already do it? I think 4
he may have
might
already
have been the
done it.
number.
Four
I think
was the number.
Did it.
He would move to 28-1. Like the resume he would be building to Volk, Oliveira, Poirier, Topuria, all the accolades that I just mentioned, 28-1. Like he would be building an insane resume. And then on the flip side of that, Ilia would go Volk, Holloway, Islam, 2-division champion, biggest star in the sport on the line. Like it's just like the stakes. If you like steaks, which I like steaks, don't call me the butcher, but I like steaks. That one has stakes.
It does, but I do feel respectfully that the upside is all on the Ilia Topuria side.
Yeah.
That the reward for Ilia is so much greater than the risk, whereas for Islam, it's another crack at a guy who you're not going to get that much credit for because he's going to be severely outsized and be the smaller man and be coming up and not the champion. And it'll just be another win in the resume. As you said, like his brilliance is this continued dominance and is continuing to stack up those wins and those title defenses and further the resume. But there's not a lot of upside. And I get why in that quote that we saw from Islam, he's like, man, like he hasn't really done that much. Like, don't get me wrong, beating Max and Volk back to back, you've done something, but he's not wrong in the sense that like Ilia just got here. The same way Dustin Poirier talked about Michael Chandler, who the fuck is we? And that like you just got here. Ilia just got here. He just got to the realm of championships. Islam's been here. And so he's giving Volk, different story. Volk had been reeling him off before he went up to fight Islam. Islam is right to be like, Ilia, you just got here. I don't know how much this does for me. At the same time, it is nice to halt the reign and the run of a guy like that, right? If you can add that name to your list and take his O, it means something. But I do think when they are standing next to each other, it is going to be a rude awakening for people how big Islam Makhachev is. And we've seen, I was trying to do this earlier. I jumped immediately onto Photoshop as soon as this was announced and did the face-off between Max Holloway and Ilia Topuria. Then I superimposed Max facing off with Khabib over Max so that the two Maxes lined up. So then I had to look at what Khabib standing next to Ilia Topuria would look like. And then I superimposed Khabib standing next to Islam over Khabib, doubled up the Khabibs, and basically got some semblance of Ilia standing next to Islam. It's going to be pretty comical, man. Like, he's going to look like a monster compared to him.
Islam is also, like, pound for pound, one of the strongest guys in the UFC.
That's what I think is going to be
for his weight class. He is so freakishly strong.
It is going to be a problem in my estimation. I don't think this fight is going to be particularly hard. Maybe famous last words. I think Islam is going to walk through him. I don't see much of a chance.
Walk through him.
Yeah.
Tie the longest win streak. Take care of Armin, winner of Armin Charles. Do that. Break the win streak, and then we head up to.
Is he finally going to get a crack at 170? He just has to keep giving the.
Well, 170's got to get sorted. We got JDM going for title shots, and then we're still waiting on Shavkat. 170's got to get sorted, so he sorts out 155 for the rest of the year. 2026 is when we go for the double champ.
If Bilal's still the champ, it sounds like they're not even going to fight anyway. So we got problems there too. JDM.
That's all I got to say about that one, baby. Might have to head up to the big MTL to watch JDM. Come to CHAMP.
I think this is going to be a great spectacle. I think it's a very international fight week, big fight feel.
It's perfect.
I do not think this is going to be a competitive fight.
It's perfect in my opinion. I think it would be fantastic. Stakes, high energy. It would be great.
It's great.
I hope that's
the
what they
UFC
end up
did
making.
very well.
Also,
Ariel said 9.5 out of 10. I'm giving him a 10 out of 10 for last night.
Someone commented during the Instagram live, and you can make this what you will. Someone commented like, "We're never going to see John Jones versus Tom Aspinall." And Dana Saul was like, "Yes, you will. We're just working through it. You're going to see it. You're going to see it." So
I'm still not confident.
Yeah. We haven't really talked about it. Volk versus Diego Lopez.
Poof.
Vacant featherweight title.
I love this. By the way, Diego Lopez manifested this. People need to realize.
Manifested this, was going to be an interim title. Now it's for the vacant title. Winner walks away with the belt.
After his win, and it seemed like we were on the collision course of Ilia and Volk, Diego came on our show. He spoke to Ariel. He spoke to other outlets and was just like, what I really want to do while Ilia talks about going off to the side and taking some rest is fight Alexander Volkanovski for an interim title. And everybody was just like, yeah, okay, but like that's not going to happen. So like,
now here he is.
You can think about that all you want.
Can you imagine if he wins this fight and then Movsar is begging him for a title shot? Just like, can you talk about the full circle?
What a twist of fate.
Welcomes him into the UFC, sneaks by him and everything like that, and then Diego's the one that ends up becoming champion.
The key to that is the pettiness, which is that Movsar did not want to do the rematch with him. He did not want to give Diego the rematch.
If you want the belt.
And now it would be him who controls that. The pettiness of that would be incredible. I would love that.
Incredible fight.
He has to beat Alexander Volkanovski, though, the former featherweight champion who is now coming back to reclaim the throne potentially.
Oh, I know it was short-lived, but during the time before the knockout, he looked pretty competitive with one Ilia Topuria. Obviously took the very short notice fight against Islam Makhachev. Essentially, the way I see it, if his chin is not gone, he makes it to that first round, it's going to be a long night for Diego Lopez. It's going to be a tall task to get by Alexander Volkanovski.
The good news for Diego is he's got good power. He's got some incredible grappling. I think there's opportunities for him to potentially win this fight. If Volk is Volk, it's going to still be a very tough task.
Also, two guys who have just become fan favorites.
Yeah, this is like the all good guy fight.
It's just like whoever wins. He said, Ariel said that Chandler Pimblett is just kind of like that warm cup of tea on a cold winter's night. It's just like this is the comfort food. It's going to be fun no matter what.
This is like a sunshine sticker that you.
Yeah, this is whoever wins the main event. It's just like I'm happy for him.
Yeah,
I'm happy for him. Sad to see the loser have to lose, but I'm happy for the winner. The main card of this 314.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane. Carlos Prates back. Light him up, boys. Smoke him if you got him. Taking on Jeff Neal in the opener of the main card. Then we're going to go Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull, debuting in the UFC. Nikita Krylov versus Dominic Reyes. Dominic Reyes getting the top 10 matchup, trying to make a resurgence. Has already won 2 straight at light heavyweight, trying to make it 3. Then you got 5 rounds of Mikey Iron Chandler going up against Patty the Baddie Pimblett. And then main event, vacant featherweight title. Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez.
But even the rest of this thing, You got Danny Ige, Sean Woodson, Jim Miller and Chase Hooper, Darren Elkins and Julian Erosa, which has the potential to be bonkers. Like
Dan Ige, Sean Woodson is slated as the curtain jerker right now.
I wonder if it stays there, but if it does, like this is a bananas card.
Don't sleep on Dumas. Don't sleep on SD Dumas versus Mikhail Oleksiejczuk.
That's gonna be bonkers
That's
too.
got just crazy flailing left hooks, left and right hooks all over it, written all over it. Darren Elkins, Julian Erosa, Suma Darji. Suma Darji's always down for a banger. Chase Hooper, Jim Miller. Like the last 7 fights on this is just like turn me up.
Yan Xiaonan and Verna Jandiroba, which is like next strawweight title contender.
Featured pre-rem, #1 contender. Yeah. Like I'm so in on that. That
Miami got a good one. Miami got a good one.
Card is absolutely stacked too. And now if Praches wins that, especially if he wins it by knockout, now we're talking about like this dude's in the top 10, welterweight getting even more exciting. Oh man, I think I'm with you. I think I say 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
The announcements last night. Obviously, we talked about Bilal JDM. Gilbert Burns, Michael Morales on that 315 as well. I mean, undefeated.
How did they do all this in seemingly one night? They Santa Dana delivered.
One last thing I do have to address, obviously, JDM being out fighting on the Montreal card. Sean Brady stepping up to fight Leon Edwards in London. I didn't say it. No one said it. Everyone else said it. I didn't say it.
They can say it for you. You don't have to say it. Yeah, we get it. Sean Brady is ducking.
Ducking?
Yeah, Sean Brady's ducking.
Sean Brady ducking me?
Listen,
where's the baby excuse?
It's a baby?
We've yet to see a baby. Where's the baby at? There's been no baby. Now we're fighting Leon Edwards in London? All this to avoid getting on the bike with
As
me?
someone who
It's
makes
convenient.
excuses a lot,
yeah.
the baby thing is just like one for a rainy day, right? So like he has other excuses that come before. So right when
my grandma died, I'm having a baby, you just throw it
out. The baby just came.
Having a baby.
Yeah.
If you don't know, there's a scheduled bout. No contracts have been signed between me and Sean Brady on the bikes, on the Averon bikes. He accepted the challenge, but no contracts have been signed. Am I going to have to fight the #1 contender while I wait for Sean Brady?
I was going to say there might have to be a replacement for Brady.
Am I going to have to bike against the #1
You're going to have to ride against some. We're going to have to bring in another welterweight who's going to have to fill in for Sean Brady.
I saw On Air Jordan talking smack on Twitter.
Oh, I'm sorry. What?
I think he wants the smoke.
Jordan
wants the smoke. The fill-in. This will be very Shavkat Ian Gary-esque.
Can you confirm or deny?
No, I cannot do either.
Oh, wow.
Can you at least speak up for the people at home?
We'll,
I can speak up.
I missed all that, but maybe we'll have to have somebody else step in. In the meantime, I do hope he and his wife are doing well, and I hope that the baby is happy and healthy. If it's already come, maybe he just hasn't posted to Instagram. And if it has not, hopefully we'll see the baby soon. And then he has a big fight coming up, and we'll figure out how to do this bike ride.
He goes and gets the win over Leon Edwards in London, and then he comes in and bikes against him.
Maybe this is controversial. Could he not just come still do the bike ride ahead of it? Like,
I guess he could. A little cardio training.
Just a little training.
And then if he wins, if it goes 5 rounds with Leon, I can be like,
you went 5.
Motivate him. I motivated him to get that cardio, to get that guessing. I'm throwing ducks in the chat, ducks and bikes in the chat. Someone in the chat said, I'm so confused. Yeah, I can understand that if you don't know the lore.
They don't know about the lore of the Brady matchup. Listen, we'll keep it simple. Sean Brady, GC, at some point in the future, they're biking. They're biking off. They're hopping on the Averon, and we're going to see which man is left standing. But right now, the signs are not good. Sean Brady looks like he's ducking.
Okay, yeah. Sean Ducky.
Paul M. has pointed out in the chat, breaking news, Brady's actually been pulled from the fight with Leon because of prior obligations.
With Connor Burks,
exactly.
Yeah, nice. I actually didn't know where you were going with that. All right, just to recap this first hour, we came on. Daniel Dubois is out of his fight against Joseph Parker out in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. That feels like ages
ago. And they're looking at guys who are not on the card to fill in on very short notice. So we'll see how that goes.
Feels like that one will just be off. We'll just do 6 cards.
Yeah.
Card of the century will get down to
it's
card of the decade? Card of the decade?
No, it's taking too significant a hit.
Card of the month.
Don't get me wrong, and we'll talk about this later. That main event, sick. Like anything you could ask for as a boxing fan. First one, expectations up here, delivered. Second one, my expectations are up here. I'm pretty confident it'll deliver. The rest of it needed that fight. It needed that co-main event, and we'll see. I hope I said earlier, I hope everybody's happy and healthy. All I do hope is that Dubois is healthy and that maybe we just get this rebooked. That's what I would ultimately like to see, because if we're dealing with like illness, maybe it's a bug that he just got and we can do this in 2 weeks. We can do this in a month. Find a great card, figure out a way for Turkey to like spin something up and put that fight on still, and then we get Usyk at some point in the near future, like we did with Usyk and Fury. Now the timeline.
Haggerty just won.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that, man. I mean, he had
I was making a point, and
I mean,
Listen, I was the one who was like, "Why don't you let him finish his
yeah,
thought?"
we gotta-
Frank
you
just
could let
was
him finish
like,
the thought.
This is the breaking news.
I mean, I have it as here as well, Frank. You're not the only one who's got YouTube. Okay, we got the John Haggerty.
I feel like just a win on a card that's happening right now isn't like a interrupt me as I'm making a point moment, but we can talk about that off air if you're still employed.
There's
and
really
so
nothing to talk about.
the
You've lost the train of thought.
yeah, I'm fucked now.
Yeah, John Haggerty. John Haggerty.
Yeah,
wins by
shout out to
decision.
John Haggerty.
No
Whatever.
knockout.
Who the fuck
No
cares?
knockout.
Whatever.
Won by decision.
I'll let Haggerty know that there was something more important to discuss.
Yeah, that was good shit, Frank. That was really good shit.
Do that again.
Yeah.
That was good.
We'll, completely. All right. Recapping, Dubois, Parker out last night. Dana White comes on. Ilia vacates.
Yep.
Volk versus Diego Lopez.
By the way, I do have to say, as we're recapping this, he wasn't talking shit. He was like, I'm going to drop the belt to go to lightweight, and he kind of did it. So shout out to him. Vacate.
I think we have it. He had an Instagram post with the caption from Ariel's favorite artist, Kendrick Lamar. I think it said, "Not like us" or something like that. And it was like a picture of him sitting on a throne, 2 flags behind him. Send it to Jordan. They don't have it. Shout out to Jordan. It's all good.
Yeah, they're too busy working on
Yeah,
interrupting us.
we're working on it.
No. We're all good. It's all good. It's all
okay,
good.
it's
At least
okay.
John Haggerty won by decision. John Haggerty won by decision, though. Shout out. All right. Volk, Diego Lopez, main
Yes.
event.
Sick.
Megan, featherweight title in Miami, UFC.
Chandler
Patty. Shout out. Pitbull signs.
Pitbull
He's fighting
debuts.
Yair. Carlos Prates, Jeff Neal. We already had it. Dominic Reyes. Oh, yeah. There it is. Ilia Topuria. They not like us. Shout out.
Yeah.
Insane.
Interrupting with the
314
graphic,
card.
too, as we're...
315. We're getting Bilal. We're getting JDM, which means Sean Brady stepping up in London. We're getting Manon Fiorot as a favorite against Valentina Shevchenko. And we're getting Gilbert Burns versus Michael Morales.
Yeah.
And did I say Prates, Jeff Neal? I think I
You did.
I think that's everything.
Brady
folks.
versus Leon Edwards is such a great fight. Like,
Dude.
I don't get me wrong. I love JDM and Leon, but I almost like JDM going to the Bilal fight and Sean Brady and Leon more.
I also love Sean Brady, this proud American, going over to
Yeah,
London
hell yeah.
to take on the pride of the UK over there and Leon Edwards. It's going to be fantastic. I can't wait for that.
10 out
I
of
think
10.
They filled it in perfectly. I don't think that fight takes a hit at all from JDM to Sean Brady.
No, definitely not.
It's going to be fantastic. There is one other thing before we move on to previewing this weekend's cards. Now that the dust has settled, we just had to digest. A quick hour to digest before we get more breaking news. Johnny Eblin took to Twitter, tweeting about essentially, I don't have a fight. We're trying to figure this thing out. We have a couple of his tweets here. Still waiting on PFL for some fight news. Haven't heard a peep from Don or the PFL team. What's going on, guys?
So
joins the laundry
more
list.
of the same, right? We've now seen Patricio Pitbull successfully now go to the UFC. He is Ariel said the paperwork might need to dry a little bit, but for all intents and purposes, he is going to be a UFC fighter. We've seen Patchy Mix come out in the last few days. We've seen numerous interviews from Aaron Pico talking about being in his matching period and wanting out of the promotion. Did I say Patchy Mix? Patchy Mix. It seems like all of the PFL's top stars are looking for the door, looking for the exit, and also saying it publicly. And to me, that's a real problem. That's a real problem for the PFL. Optically, this is a disaster. This is the last thing you want, because if I'm another top fighter, if I'm one of the UFC's top fighters and I'm looking over the fence and going, hey, who knows? There's competition out there. I could go to the PFL. I could go to the GFL. I could find somewhere to land. When you see this kind of disorder, when you see these people continuing to come out of the woodwork every single day, Corey Anderson, another one, just all these guys looking for fights and not getting them and looking for some word from the PFL and not getting them, it's real bad optics for somebody who's in this game.
And these aren't the 11th ranked featherweights in the PFL.
No, these are the top guys.
These are the biggest names, the champions, and everything like that. And they're going on Twitter. Pitbull had to beg to get out, and now look where he is. He's on the main card of UFC Miami.
Yeah.
UFC 314 in a top 5 featherweight matchup. So if you're one of these guys who's like, man, I really want out of this contract. I think there's bigger and better things for me in the UFC. And now I've seen that you can get signed and get put into really favorable fights for you to become a star in the UFC. What's keeping me here? Why would I want to stay here any longer?
Yeah, and I almost feel like it's not actually the fights that are the problem. It's the communication, the lack of communication, right? We constantly see in all these messages, like, I haven't heard from them. Like, what are we doing here? Have the conversation. Like, bring in your top fighters, sit them down and say, this is the plan that we have for you. The same way you do for a free agent, right? If I was the PFL and somebody came up for free agency, as I imagine they probably did with Francis Ngannou, you have to give them a vision. You have to sell them a dream. You have to figure out how you're going to keep them happy while they're here. And so if I'm the PFL, you need to sit down with these guys. Patchy Mix needs a call. Corey Anderson needs a call. Aaron Pico needs a call. Johnny Eblen needs a call. You need to figure out what you're going to do with them and be able to tell them what their future looks like. And if it's just this continued murkiness and them just running to social media every opportunity they can get, I don't know what the game plan is, but it can't be this. It is a real bad look optically for the PFL, and I think they're in a real critical situation in their existence right now where they have this number 2 slot, but like, what are they going to do with it? What has been the point of purchasing Bellator if it was not to further their agenda, which they have not been able to do?
And then on Tuesday, Don Davis comes out, PFL Champion Series. July is the first event of our new fight franchise coming.
Yeah, more franchises.
We need more franchises where PFL tournament champions and Bellator champions come to fight. The co-main of the very first card in July, shrug emoji. Can't wait. It's just like, man.
How about we get Patchy Mix and Johnny Eblen a fight?
I'll bookmark that one. Ratioed, 56 likes, 69 responses.
Jeez, man.
It's just like...
It's tough sledded.
It is truly tough sledding, man.
What doesn't help is also, I personally like the boisterous nature of Don Davis. Like, I like him as a front man because I think he does something that like Scott Coker as an example or as a contrast doesn't do, which is like, he knows how to stir the pot. He knows how to get attention. He knows how to do that. But one of his major problems is that sometimes he puts his foot in his mouth a little bit when he's talking about the fight game, and B, everything comes off like a business. It comes off like a LinkedIn post, and he's kind of prolific on LinkedIn, so that would actually make sense because that's one of his platforms that he uses, and he comes from that business world, so I understand it. But like, the fight aspect is not being served right now, and that's across the way that the promotion has him talking about it, but also in what's happening behind the scenes. These are fighters who need something to work toward, who need a goal, who need a date, who need an opponent, and they are not being given that. There's a critical and fundamental misunderstanding of how the fight game runs that is being applied here, and it's causing a problem. Optically, it seems like every top fighter that is on the PFL roster is unhappy right now. Maybe save for Francis Ngannou, and even him, it's like he gets to do whatever he wants. He gets to go box. He probably won't even be back to the PFL for a bit. So it's easier to keep him happy because he has other ambitions. But like, if I'm Patchy Mix, if I'm Johnny Eblen, what is left for me? Can you sell me what this vision for the PFL is? So I think a critical period for them, a really important moment for them to really right this ship. And we can't keep seeing every single week a new guy being like, I don't want to fight for the PFL anymore.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there or what doesn't happen. I mean, we'll see how many stars keep going over to the UFC and what the PFL and Bellator responds with. All right, let's jump in to this weekend. Let's start with the boxing card before we go into UFC Seattle. The last crescendo. Beterbiev Bivol 2. That fight is still on the card.
Which, by the way, I mean, like, what if they have a trilogy? Is it truly the last crescendo?
I always feel like the naming is unnecessary.
See, that's the thing. I think older fans like the naming because instead of like just like the generic like name, number, or UFC this, like the names kind of had like a feel to them, and it kind of gave you this thing to attach yourself to the card. I just don't like this name because it's like the last crescendo, but that makes it feel like a finality. But like if there's a third one of these, I'd be more than happy to watch it.
Of course. And I think we're going to get a third one.
Is it going to be the next? Let's break down the second one first, and then I'll ask you about what you think about.
All right, so obviously the main event, you see it right there. Artur Beterbiev taking on Dmitry Bivol. First fight happened about 4 or 5 months ago.
We've been waiting for that.
Yeah, majority decision. A lot of people thought Bivol won. Beterbiev gets his hand raised. We actually watched it together. I felt like without commentary, I was like, I think Beterbiev got it, but I'm not going to fault anyone for scoring at Bivol. As close as it gets. And honestly, as close of a fight that Beterbiev has had. He was 20-0 with 20 knockouts. And then first time he goes to a decision, in my heart of hearts, I just feel like these two dudes are so skilled. They're just at the top of their game. They're going to fight to an incredibly close decision again. This time, Bivol gets his hand raised, and we get a third fight.
I thought the same way. I thought for the longest time, I looked at that first fight and was like, these guys are just evenly matched, right? Like there's certain like the momentum swings. It seems like one has the momentum. Beterbiev obviously has the power advantage. Like I feel like that's clear, right? The size and the power, but I felt like they were pretty evenly matched, and I was expecting decisions. Somebody named Ariel Helwani on Ariel Exade, a show you can watch on DAZN, with our very own Ariel Helwani and Ariel Helwani, said he thinks Bivol is going to press harder because he lost that fight by decision and felt like he should have won that fight. He has to do something different in order. Like if I'm in his shoes and I'm thinking to myself, I thought I won that fight, but I didn't do enough. Now I have to do more. You might be inclined to kind of press harder. And he thought that might open him up for an opportunity for Beterbiev to counter better and potentially take advantage of that. I hadn't thought of that, but that's kind of a fascinating thing because if I'm Bivol and I get into a back and forth and I'm looking at a decision again, am I sure it's going to go my way? Is something that I think he has to be thinking in the back of his head. And so I wonder if he is going to be a little more aggressive, and maybe that works in his favor, but maybe that also opens him up to a counter opportunity. I hadn't quite thought of it that way. Now I'm starting to lean like Beterbiev might finish the fight. That's where I'm like, he's convinced me, and if this is wrong, I'm blaming Ariel Helwani. Like it's falling squarely on his shoulders. But he has convinced me of the idea of like, if you're heading into I'll give you a perfect example. This is for the MMA fans. Sean Strickland, right? Sean Strickland in the rematch with Dricus Du Plessis approached that fight nearly exactly the same way, if not like less aggressively. And the result was just getting blanked, just getting destroyed, losing worse than he did the first time. If you're Bivol and you walk into that fight and do the same thing, I do wonder if in the back of your head, like, can I win a decision here? Is it just going to go the exact same way? So I do feel like there might be a little pressing from him. I do feel like he doesn't want to go down two, and especially if it's going to be a close decision and all of a sudden go, I didn't win it. And so I feel like it opens him up.
It's a fair point, and honestly, as we've seen of late in both boxing and in MMA, in these rematches, we just saw Sean Strickland and Dricus Du Plessis, and then in December we saw it with Usyk and Fury. The man that won the first one won the second one much more comfortably. Yeah. I mean, maybe there's a chance we see that. Do you think Beterbiev, and like the answer is obviously no, because we just saw him at 39 be on the gas pedal almost the entire fight. Do you think him being 40 has any effect on it? He's just in too insane of shape.
He's too physically conditioned. He's too big. He's too powerful. He's too strong. And like his game isn't reliant on like movement and like this supernatural cardio, this thing that like he's just mean, dangerous, powerful. Like he lands really good shots. He's not as like Bivol is the craftier boxer, and that's going to work in his favor. But like sometimes this is why we have weight classes, and I think in boxing in particular, like the bigger size just proves to be too much at times. Like we even saw it with the Canelo fight, right? Like he's just big, and it's hard. It's really hard, and he's also extremely skilled. Don't get me wrong. I have no concern about like the cardio or the age or anything being an issue. I think he's just going to look exactly as he usually does, and it's often good enough.
How about Usyk 38?
In fact, it's always been good enough, by the way.
Usyk 38 dominating his weight class. Beterbiev 40 at the top of his game. It's just crazy how long you can go in boxing.
Heavier weights in boxing, you can really just do it for a long time. The game is so not predicated on this like peekaboo in and out, like slick style as it is in the lower weight classes, right? Once you lose that speed, once you lose that step in the lower weight classes, it can be a death sentence, right? You see a guy like who's pure instincts, like a Prince Nassim, my favorite boxer. Do you know Prince Nassim?
Nah, I don't know Prince Nassim. Know the name, but that's it.
YouTube, Prince Nassim. That's your homework. You're gonna lose your mind. One of the flashiest like boxers, like the ring generalship. Like he was just incredible. It was all the footwork. It was all the movement. Floyd Mayweather. There's lots of guys where, as the speed starts to go and the reflexes start to go, what was once super effective isn't as much. in the heavyweight division, if you're able to stand in the pocket and trade, I would actually say like Usyk's kind of an anomaly, right? Because his movement, his cardio, his footwork is the thing that typically would go. But because he's a smaller heavyweight, he's still kind of at an advantage against like lumbering guys. And that's what we see with Tyson Fury and even like Anthony Joshua. Dubois a little bit smaller, so I think like he's closer to it. But heavyweights, even cruiserweights, you can fight for a minute in boxing.
You see it with Zhang. Zhang's about to turn 42. And he's fighting this weekend.
The age curve is just so much further in that sport as opposed to like MMA. Although, look, like John Jones is the champion of the world in the UFC. Like he just fought Stipe Miocic, although that didn't go so well for Stipe Miocic. Heavyweights in MMA still go longer too, but boxing in particular.
It really is just crazy how like fight sport you feel like would be the one that you can't go that long in, that it's just a younger man's game, whereas like
the stakes are so high.
All the champions are in their 30s, like in the UFC. I don't know how many are in the 20s right now, but it's mostly older guys that end up getting the belts and that are at the top of their game. It really is a fascinating thing.
But he just gave up. He just gave up
Ilia
the strap.
The only champ in his 20s right now. I feel like Islam is in his 30s. Bilal's definitely in his 30s. Jones, Pereira, Dricus is.
How old is
30.
Dricus? Is he 30?
Maybe he's 29. I mean, like I feel like everyone is in.
He's going to be the closest. 31.
31. Shout
just
out.
Turned 31 in January.
Baby. God, is it weird that like me and him are the exact same age, and I feel like he's just like 10 years older than me?
Yeah,
it's
what's
like
weirder is me being much older than him. Is me being much older than him.
All right, so is that your official prediction?
Man,
you're gonna go that the counters open up for Beterbiev and he's able to land one on Bivol and put him out.
I have to feel like it logically makes sense to me, but I also felt that way about the DDP and Strickland fight. I was like, Strickland's gonna press that gas, he's gonna be pressing, and then he just stood there and got picked apart. I do think that's gonna happen. And to your point, it feels like the man who won the first one just has like enough data and enough to get it done. But like you said with DDP, you said, I think it's going to happen a different way. I think it will happen a different way. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Beterbiev. Now, would I also be surprised if they just went back and forth again and it was momentum swings, whereas like Beterbiev gets the better of him early and then all of a sudden Bivol gets the second half of the fight and comes in with body shots and is just like doing his technical boxing? I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say maybe Beterbiev can finish this fight.
All right, you go Beterbiev by finish. I'll go Bivol by decision, and we get a trilogy fight.
I would love to see a trilogy fight because I think these two are fantastic, and I think it's a great pairing.
We talked about it earlier. Daniel Dubois. God, look at that poster. I mean, the poster is just fantastic. Maybe not the last crescendo, or is that Turkey letting us know the fix is in and
then it's over?
Beterbiev is going to finish it with a knockout this time. We already talked about it. Daniel Dubois is out of his fight with Joseph Parker. Massive loss to the card. You lose the co-main. You lose the IBF World Heavyweight title.
By the way, he's 40. He turned 40 January 21st.
Beterbiev. Yeah, 40 years old. 40.
Crazy.
Be able to put that gas tank on you, that pacing on you. It's just insane. And obviously, he carries the power with him into this age. I can't wait for Saturday.
It's going to be sick.
It's going to be fantastic.
The first one was so good.
We unfortunately lose that co-main event. I don't think we'll get anything. Unless you make the big promise to Joseph Parker, you win this fight, you get Usyk.
Ariel seemed more... I'm going to trust that Ariel might know something because Ariel seemed more gung-ho about it. To me, if I'm Parker, what's the point of staying on the card?
Especially because like Ariel alluded to it, like he like really wanted the IBF title.
Rebook this. Yeah. If he stays on the card and loses... Man, that would be catastrophic.
Especially if it's just an illness. If it's something that he's going to be over next week, like just reschedule it for May or something.
Figure out how you can get it rebooked ASAP and do that. Because for Parker, if you take that gamble and lose on that opportunity, that's bad. That's really bad. Because
then you're 10.
If I'm Dubois, why do I want to fight Parker? I'd want to fight the guy who beat him, right? If that guy stepped in and beat him, I'd want to fight that guy. Ariel said maybe they say you can have the Usyk fight. If that's the case, if the case is, hey, you win here, you get Usyk. Now I'm like, okay, roll those dice. If I'm Parker, I want anybody, and if I can win this fight, I get Usyk. No problem. Like I would do that in a heartbeat. But it just feels like a low upside. If you're not promised an opportunity like that to fight somebody who's coming in on super short notice, who, let's call it what it is, you'll probably beat them because they haven't been preparing for a fight and you've been preparing for the fight of your life to win a championship. But it's boxing. It's combat sports. You could slip on a banana peel and you're looking up at the lights at the end of that night. it does not feel like it's worth the risk for either side. Even for somebody to step in. What am I fighting Parker for at that point? There's no belt on the line.
And who are you going to bring in? On 2 days' notice to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Who are you?
He was talking about some of the heavyweights. Like Ariel was talking. Like I think he said Bakoli. Like I guess there's guys who they're contacting. But if I'm them, do I want to give up my momentum for an opportunity on this short notice? Not for a title. That's the most important part. And I keep reiterating it. Dubois is the champion, and he is the one who's out.
Yep.
This is not for a belt.
Then it would literally just become a heavyweight bout.
It's just a heavyweight bout. Yeah. Now, it's a big heavyweight bout on a huge, massive card and a huge opportunity. Joseph Parker's name means something, and that will be a big win for you. But if you're somebody who already has momentum, it feels like it's all risk and low reward.
I'm with you, man. Another late replacement, Josh Padley stepping in to take on Shakur Stevenson.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we lose the Floyd Schofield fight. He's sick. He's in the hospital. He's not doing well. Padley, 15-0, 4 wins by knockout. Clearly not on the level of Shakur Stevenson.
Big dog.
Minus 4,500. Feels like now this...
Minus 45?
Minus 4,500.
Oh,
yeah,
Jesus.
I went back and looked through Padley's resume and watched a couple of highlights. Like
this is a big step up.
It just feels like, step up, short notice against a guy like Shakur Stevenson, who some believe is the best in the world at his weight class.
Another Ade Oladipo take. He's got Stevenson number 1 there.
Yeah. Some people, Ade Oladipo. Some people. Just feels like this is going to be one that Stevenson just gets it done, ho-hum performance.
I'll be honest, even the original booking was a showcase for Shakur.
Yeah, I still think even, like, he's obviously the biggest favorite on the card now. I think he was still the biggest favorite on the card against Schofield.
Shakur needs a huge fight. That is what we're dealing with right now.
Needs it bad, man.
He needs a huge fight because...
He needs a huge fight and a huge performance.
And a big performance. There's only so many times everybody can be like, I think Shakur Stevenson's the best in the world, but we never get the fights that are actually going to prove that. And that's the problem. Like, we continue to dance around this. We continue to see... But, like, he's now in another showcase fight that he's probably going to win. I don't think he's going to get a knockout. It was interesting to hear Ade. Ade's getting a lot of love on the show. Shout out to our guy Ade. Talk about the fact that he thinks he can only fight twice a year because he's got brittle hands and wants to kind of protect them, right? He wants to make sure that his hands are good enough to be able to do this. You need a big fight. Like, from here, I know this is gonna be a showcase for him, and he'll hopefully look good and go on to something. It needs to be a big name next. It can't be anything else. We're just treading water at this point with Shakur Stevenson, because I'm also somebody who thinks he might be the best. Like, I don't know. I think he is. I truly do. I think his style is one that's going to be hard to defeat for a lot of the top guys, but he needs to show it. If you're only theoretically the best guy in the world, you're not the best guy in the world. Unfortunately, that's just not how that goes. You have to prove it. You have to do it in the ring. And against a guy like Tank, that's a way to prove it. So hopefully we'll see Shakur Stevenson in a big fight next. But this is a showcase, and he cannot stumble here. If he has another performance where, now I don't think he's going to get booed. I don't think he's going to get booed like last time. But he needs a performance that is going to throw people. He needs a performance that people are going to look at that and go, I want to see him in the big fight. He needs to be in the big fight.
Pride of Newark, New Jersey. Pride of Brick City.
He's fantastic.
Support him just because, he's from this area. But yeah, big fight, big performance to put himself on the map, because it really is just treading water. You said it perfectly. That's the only way to describe it. And obviously, we're not going to get that this weekend now.
He's too good for this. We need a big fight.
Also on the card, our guy also trains out of New Jersey. Big Bang Zhang, Shiley Zhang,
the man.
Aja Kabayel, 25-0, undefeated. Zhang, 42.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Zhang by knockout.
Yeah, Zhang
by knockout.
You did that. Da-da. Zhang by knockout.
Young, up-and-coming, hungry pro, 25-0, huge knockout power against a 42 aging guy in Zhang.
Zhang by KO.
I will be taking Zhang by knockout. Thank you so much. I mean, there's
Big Bang.
There's nothing else to say. Like, I love watching him fight. It's kind of just like, I want to say killer be killed, but it's kind of like killer just gas out and then lose the fight in the later rounds. But like, if he's on and he's like there to kill you, it's like the first 6 to 8 rounds he is going to knock you out. And if not, like the Parker fight. The Parker fight, he's like, that is the perfect Shiley Zhang fight. It looked like he had him on the ropes a couple of times. Parker's got an amazing chin to hang in there. And then he was up like, God, going into that 10th round, he was up like 6-3 or something like that. And then Parker just reels off all the last rounds, gets it done. I think he 10-8'd him in one round and wins the fight. And I want to say, as I was watching it live, I was like, damn, Joseph Parker's plus 500 right now live. And it feels like Zhang is out of gas and there is nothing left. And sure enough, Parker wins the last 3 or 4 rounds and goes on to get the victory.
Yeah, it was incredible grit and performance by Parker. But it felt like once it got past the middle rounds, he just didn't have that left. Fortunately, it's like, young, hungry lion coming in. Zhang by KO.
Yeah, Zhang by KO. We say that it's been dumbed down from, card of the century, maybe card of the decade, card of the year, boxing card of the month, but the best card of the month. There's still some great fights on this one.
It will deliver for boxing fans.
For sure.
The casual appeal, I think, on this card was already a little bit low, right?
I think so too.
I don't think the casual fans know Shakur Stevenson to the point we've been making. Like, he needs that big fight. He needs that showcase. Every fan who's watching this, even if you're only an MMA fan, they're like Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, Tank. They know all these guys. Shakur is kind of that like in the background guy who needed a big performance here. This felt like it was more for boxing fans. Now it's even more so. Now it's taking some hits that even like, the competitive matchups that people wouldn't know. Like, I think people will know Daniel Dubois. Now he's out. We actually, I believe, from Riyadh have some sound of Joseph Parker talking about
reaction to Daniel Dubois being out.
Yeah,
let's
from the press conference.
If he is ill, hope he gets better soon. And I'm looking forward to Saturday and putting on a great show.
Yeah, there's been a lot of discussions. Like Frank says, he's been assessed by a doctor at the moment. So we are just trying to find out whether it's good or bad news. But whatever it's going to be, Joe's there. There will be a fight Saturday. Whoever's there, Joe's ready to fight. He's ready to go. He's ready to win. So that's it. Whoever we're going to fight Saturday, Joe's up for it. He doesn't care. He's one of them fighters. He'll fight anybody.
Spence Brown is promoter saying that there will be a fight no matter who it is. I don't know.
Look,
he knows more than me.
I trust his word, and I think he's going to fight. I don't know if that's a mistake or not, but you do have to give a lot of credit to Joseph Parker. Like, I didn't come all this way just to like not fight. If that's what it's going to be, that's what it's going to be. I do wonder if it's too big a risk. Maybe to Ariel, the suggestion Ariel made, maybe he's been given something. Maybe he's been assured that like there will be an opportunity waiting for him on the back end of this. But he's a fighter's fighter, man. That dude has been through it in boxing. And so I can't say I'm surprised to hear him say like I'm gonna fight no matter, and his promoter say I'm gonna fight no matter what, whoever it is. But I don't know, who's it gonna who is it gonna be? Can you even find somebody?
I don't know. 48 hours notice.
It's a tough situation. It's not like this is happening in Vegas, right? You can't just like turn a corner and find a heavyweight.
Still some bangers on this card, though, even without it. Virgil Ortiz taking on Israel Madrimov, who's fought on some big cards. He obviously fought Terrence Crawford, but then he fought on Joshua Ngannou card. That's a great one. Joshua Buatsi taking on Callum Smith, and then Carlos Adames versus Hamza Shiraz. And all those have title implications on them, whatever belts they may be. I was looking at this before all the losses. Half the card was undefeated, like before we lost Floyd Schofield and Daniel Dubois. Half the card was undefeated fighters, and every fight on the card was for some sort of title or interim title. Some belt was going to be on the line with it. So obviously hits taken, but I'm still looking forward to it. I still think it's a fantastic.
It's going to be a great card.
Fantastic lineup.
It just doesn't have that. It doesn't have that pop. It doesn't have that magic that it once had. The main event accepted. The main event to me is worth every single dollar. The main event to me is worth the price of admission. But yeah, I mean, we'll still excitedly watch it. I'm still in. I'm really fascinated to hear how defiantly Joseph Parker is saying he's staying on the card. Let's see who steps in.
And let's jump from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, all the way over to the Pacific Northwest. Seattle, Washington, UFC Seattle taking place. Henry Cejudo and Song Yadong in the main event in this one. I mean, you see it right there. Shout out to the details. We got the Mariners hat up. Shout out to the Deets. We got the old Supersonics hat. If you know ball, you know ball, kid. Can't wait for this one. This is actually, both these cards. There's a big Tom Aspinall. Come on, Tommy. Let's just stand up. Come on, in front of the people. You got to stand up. You talk about like what could have been cards. Lose Floyd Schofield, lose Daniel Dubois. On this one, I mean, if you go onto the Tapology Fizzled Bouts section
what'd we lose?
Of this fight card, it just like, it almost hurts the soul. Obviously, Dominic Cruz, we were supposed to get that against Rob Font, and he ends up being forced into retirement because of the injury. We were supposed to get Ketlin Vieira, Macy Chejan. I know you were really upset about losing that one. Edson Barbosa, Steve Garcia, that actually hurt my soul a little bit that we lost that one. Curtis Blades versus Kuniev, Rizvan Kuniev. So, like, a Curtis Blades fight is always exciting. It's always intriguing, top half of the heavyweight division. Adam Fugit lost 2 fights on this one, but most importantly, Dominic Cruz out. Edson Barbosa, Steve Garcia was a certified banger. If you don't know, I don't know what to tell you. You need to learn. Those who know do know. And then Curtis Blades against Rizvan Kuniev. So it hurts, but, what are you going to do? It's kind of the fight game. It's sort of the game we sign up for, the game we play, and losing fights like this, both in MMA and boxing. But I'm still looking forward to this. Henry Cejudo back. It feels like it's just become sort of a yearly tradition that we get the Henry Cejudo springish time fight. Like, I think he's fought in February the last 2 years, fought in like May against Alja the year before that. Like, ever since the return after his last fight in 2020, it's like, yep, you get the one around springtime. Henry Cejudo, he sees, he comes, he tries to conquer. Unfortunately, since the return, he hasn't been able to. If he loses to Song Yadong, 38 years old, 3-fight losing streak, where do you go from here if you lose this, if you're Henry Cejudo? And by the way, not for nothing, like, he is a sizable dog in this one.
The same spot. You come back next spring or late winter into spring and fight again. Honestly, like,
he comes out of his shell. It's like Groundhog Day. Like, we see him. He fought in February. He fought in May. Now he's fighting in February again. It's just like instead of the groundhog, it's like, will we see Henry Cejudo fight a top 10 bantamweight?
I think we're how many fights removed? Let me see. We are. I mean, his last. All right, let's be fair to Henry. His last 2 fights are Aljamain and Merab.
Incredibly tough. No.
Extremely tough.
No discrediting at all.
Fights.
I'm just saying, you're getting older in the game.
I wasn't saying you were, but I was about to say something potentially disrespectful, and then I stopped myself. I think this will be the measuring stick. This fight against Song Yadong, the last 2 you can justify, right? I lost in a title fight in my comeback, and I lost to Merab, who is now the champion, who everybody knows is absolutely incredible. If you lose to Song Yadong, now you're not even in the contender conversation anymore, right? Now you're like, okay, this truly is the end. This truly is the back 9. What more is left to do? I don't think Henry Cejudo is going to be a champion in this division. I'm fairly certain of that. So at that point, you're really only looking for fun kind of like stylistic opportunities and big name fights and things like that. I think if he wins, there's still probably some viability to his name, and like you could put him in a big fight. I think there's probably some guys you could put him against that a win against them would be significant. But I do start to wonder, what's the motivation for Henry, win or lose this fight? Like, where do you go from here?
He has to have some sort of motivation to take a Song Yadong fight. He's fighting down in the rankings. It's just like, I think he thinks he can get back to the top.
I don't know if he thinks he will get back to the title, but I know he at least thinks he can hang, right? You don't fight Song Yadong if you don't think you can be a contender, if you don't think you can hang with those top guys. I think he wants to find that out. If he can, I still don't think he's going to be getting a title shot. I don't think he's going to be a champion. And so you just wonder, what is the next step? I think something fascinating could be like
Captain Eric battle? Henry Cejudo versus Davison Figueiredo?
Yeah, two of his guys. I wouldn't mind a Cejudo versus Sean O'Malley at some point. Like, I don't hate that type of fight. I don't hate that type of logic. But it feels like those are the only things left for him, where it's like against a name that people will recognize and that it would do something for that other person's legacy to have a win over Henry Cejudo.
Okay, so we actually are going to leave Seattle, Washington, hop on the plane, head right on back to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia for some more breaking news.
What do we got?
Joseph Parker has a fight.
Who's he fighting?
Martin Bakole.
Wow!
I was going to do
Holy shit!
Yeah, I was going to do a whole thing. Do you want to guess? We have a little fun with it. Producer said nope. Joseph Parker will now face Martin Bakole in a heavyweight clash on Saturday night after Daniel Dubois was ruled out due to illness. Did Ring Magazine learn that? Did we get any confirmation on whether or not
say if they learned it. It looks like the Ring Magazine just announced.
Just announced. Obviously, that's their own graphic. So, wow. I mean, talk about Turki Al-Sheikh and Riyadh season able to save the day on. I mean, they will literally be fighting in like 48 hours.
Bakole coming off that huge win over Jared Anderson, 21-1. Like, this is as for what this is, and us talking about how dire the circumstances are and not feeling like there's really a lot of upside here. This is pretty damn good for them to be able to pull out of their hat. I give them credit. I have to clap. I have to clap for the fact that they were able to get that done. And it cannot be stated enough. Truly, credit to these two, because as we've said, whoever wins this, it's going to be fantastic for. Whoever loses this, it's going to be potentially devastating for, because they both are in such a good run. They both have such good momentum right now.
Okay,
but this is fantastic.
I love the breakdown. I'm just diving deep. I'm doing some research. I'm on Martin Bacoli's Instagram.
Yeah.
And 1 day ago he posted a video. I think he's there. Yeah, it looks like he is down in the Congo, and I'm now looking up flights from the Congo. I think Kinshasa he can fly out of to Riyadh. Gonna have to do a layover. So about like a 13 hours of travel. That's doable.
Good thing he doesn't have to cut weight.
Doesn't have to cut weight. Fighting in 48 hours, so like he'll have 35 hours of downtime. Does he look to be in fighting shape?
I mean, he's a
heavyweight.
Yeah, he's a heavyweight ball of power, so it doesn't really matter. Like, he's not going to get a six-pack overnight. He's that type of guy anyway, but...
Looks like he's been in training. January 29th, he's hitting some heavy bags in preparation. Looks like he's ready to go. So yeah, it looks like he'll be coming, and I could be wrong with this, but it looks like he's coming from the Congo.
It's a hell of a fight. If they just announced this fight on any night, it would be a great fight. Like, this is a fantastic fight. It's as good as you can do on this type of notice. Kudos to them. And again, kudos to both the athletes, because to be able to step up in this moment and perform on this stage, knowing that the Dubois title, the carrot that's dangling out there, is not on the line. Good job. Wow. I mean, it's been a whirlwind last 20 hours, but congratulations to everybody involved. They've been pulling it together.
Yeah, dude.
Making the best of some bad situations here.
I guess if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be Turki Al-Sheikh. And now I do wonder if things were said to both these guys, whether it was Parker or Bacoli. Like, if you win this, you'll fight Usyk next, or if it's just you're going to get Dubois after this.
I just don't know how you could guarantee that, right? But if that has been, it's worth the risk.
I don't know if we have this tweet, but Helwani got on Twitter. He said, incredible replacement on 48 hours notice. Massive risk for Parker. Huge respect to Bacoli. The cojones. Parker wins, he should get Usyk. Bacoli wins, he should get Dubois.
Sure. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Am I mistaken? We've been giving a lot of love to Ariel Helwani on the program today. Isn't he a big Martin Bacoli fan?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I think we all are. That dude's exciting as shit. This is going to be a great fight.
I think this is the best. This is probably the best they could do.
Circumstance that you could.
When they listed out Martin Bacoli, I was like, that ain't happening. Yeah, on 48 hours notice, there's no way that's happening.
Well, because we're so used to the protection of your record, right? That is so important, and even more so in boxing than it is in MMA, right? Like in MMA, you want to stay. We talk about keeping the losses. You lose the momentum. In boxing, it's a death sentence. In boxing, losses are catastrophic. And so both of these guys with the momentum they have, both of these guys with the runs that they're on, putting it on the line is kind of unusual. It's kind of rare. And like Ariel tweeted and like I've been saying, they deserve the lion's share of the credit for stepping into the situation and being like, fuck it. If I lose, I lose. I'm going for glory. Like, good for these two, and it's going to be a great fight. And honestly, I'm a little more excited. I like this fight better.
I like this fight better than the Dubois fight.
I like this fight better. I think the Dubois fight was for a championship and obviously had more stakes.
I think I like the stakes much more. You think this will be a more fun fight?
This is going to be fun as hell.
Okay. All right, well, I can't wait for it. You can watch it.
Bacoli's going to come in there and just bomb. Like
what other option does he have?
He's coming in there to kill.
Flying in on 48 hours notice to fight is just like, all right, man, I'm either going to knock the dude out or I'll probably get knocked out in the way.
It's going to be great. Sick.
No breaking news from Frank in the back. Jared Brooks, unfortunately, came up short. I think his one flyweight championship bout.
I think I may have scared Frank into not hitting it because we had this Bacoli news and then they waited till I was done talking about fucking Henry Cejudo. So
Pasio,
that would have been.
Pasio takes out Jared Brooks in second round by knockout. I unfortunately didn't have that one on when it happened. So all right, there you go. You heard it right here. Joseph Parker, Martin Bacoli will now be the replacement fight, and you can watch it. You can watch it right here with us on Saturday. Watch party starts at 3:00. That should be a great one. I'm very much looking forward to that now. Shout out to Turki Al-Sheikh. Shout out to Riyadh. Shout out to The Ring. Whoever made this happen, they just know how to get shit done. They know how to get shit done. All right, back to Seattle. We were talking Henry Cejudo. We were talking.
I was just talking about what's left. To me, it's only big names, right? Like, win or lose, the only fights I care about is like Henry versus Sean O'Malley, because it will mean something to O'Malley's resume. It will mean something for Henry to have that back and forth with O'Malley. Guys like that, I don't know what else there really is. I don't think he will be a champion. And so I don't know. I don't know what's at stake here, win or lose for Cejudo. I know for Song Yadong, this would be a nice feather in his cap. That part I do know. And I think he needs like a name like a Cejudo on his resume.
Right, because right now it kind of feels like he's the fighter that hangs around the top of the division, that's in exciting fights, but like isn't really in the title contention.
Yeah.
Beating Henry Cejudo will be nice for him. Get him in that
Exactly.
like top 6, 7 range and start looking towards the top 5 and moving closer to title contention. Should be a great one. Should be a very fun one.
Like his losses are to Sandhagen and Jan, right?
Yeah.
Like you need to show that you can beat the guys at this level. Is Henry Cejudo still at this level? That's an interesting kind of like debate to have. His losses are only to Marab and Aljo, who are the past 2 champions of this division. So, actually not the past 2, because in between there was Sean O'Malley, but 2 of the past 3 champions of this division. So it's a good measuring stick for Song, and I think it's a really good name to have on your resume. For Henry, as I said, like I really don't know what's at stake for him.
Yeah.
He could retire, or he could be like Sean O'Malley or somebody else whose name I really want to take. You're next.
Yeah, I feel like if he comes up short in this one, then you take
Walk away?
serious into considerations into being like, all right, let's walk
But
away.
honestly, I thought that after the Marab fight, I was like, we're good now.
I know, but what are we gonna do? We're doing Henry Cejudo versus Mario Bautista, Henry Cejudo versus Kyler Phillips.
I'm not interested in that, and I don't think he would be
Yeah.
either. As I said, it's like a Sean O'Malley. It's a guy who, like, I can still probably reach that far. I can still probably kind of try to get him, but no, I am not interested in Henry versus Mario Batistas of the world.
Henry Cejudo, Marcus McGee.
Yeah, no, pass. Hard pass.
All right, co-main event: Anthony Hernandez taking on Brendan Allen. Banger in the co-main. Anthony Hernandez has been on an insane run as of late, 6 straight wins. Brendan Allen, before his last fight against Nasruddin Imavov, 7 straight wins in the middleweight division. These are 2 of the best middleweights in the world. And anytime Fluffy fights, man, he comes to fight. He is not here to point score. He is not here to win decisions. I think this one is going to be fantastic. I can't wait for it.
I'm really liking this one. I feel like Brendan Allen had so much momentum, and then it kind of got halted. I still think he's pretty damn good. I really like this matchup. I think this is going to be a real like showcase for whoever wins it, right? Into the top of the division conversation. And I took a peek at the line, and I'm a little surprised.
Yeah, it's minus 270 something in that range for
right now. I'm looking at he's in the 320, 340 range.
320, 340.
Yeah.
Wow. He was hovering around like minus 250, minus 260, minus 270.
Come back on Allen plus
Anthony
270.
Wow.
Like it feels like the odd. Look, don't get me wrong. The run Hernandez is on is like impressive, and I get why he'd be the favorite in this fight. But man, it wasn't that long ago that we were talking about Brendan Allen as like next title contender territory.
For sure.
I think he can get back there, and especially with a win over Hernandez. I'm a little shocked at the line. Breaking news.
Yeah, there's more breaking news, guys.
Oh,
I'm sorry
wow,
to jump
more
in.
breaking news?
I'm sorry to jump in. Yes, there's more breaking news. There's
Okay,
all
wow.
kinds of
My
craziness. I
God.
don't mean to interrupt.
Okay, go
No,
ahead.
please.
No.
What do we got?
Interruption. But by the way, this is the dream right here. This is exactly what we all envisioned when we thought about doing a show each and every day, Monday through Friday. We're able to connect with people. We're able to break news. We didn't want to just be a once a week or twice a week operation. This is the dream right here.
This is a 24-hour news network at this
Yes.
point. I mean, we're just going. Let's hear it. What do we got, baby? And this isn't Joseph Parker, Martin Mccauley.
No, that would be...
Okay, wow. That's
that would
old
be
news.
kind
That's
of
old
weird.
news. That's done.
All right, fill us in. What do we got?
That is 5 minutes ago. That is 5 minutes ago. Okay.
Okay, what do we got?
This via our friends from Karate Combat. Karate Combat 53 is happening next Friday. That's Friday, February 28th in Denver at the National Western Complex. Now, they have this thing called pit submission. They do this thing where they have these like grappling matches in these sort of like pit-like structures. And so they've just confirmed with me that at KC 53 Denver, pit submission featured bout at 180 pounds. It's going to be a young man named Eli Barzilai. Now, Eli Barzilai may not be a household name to all the fans out there, but I can tell you that he is an undefeated MMA fighter. He is 6-0. His nickname is The Hype is Real. He is in his mid-20s. He's a big-time prospect, and worth noting that he's probably the biggest prospect coming out of Israel right now. He's very proud of his country. He's a very proud Israeli fighter who is doing some big things over in LFA. A lot of people think he's very close to getting to the UFC, and he does fight a lot out of and train a lot out of Las Vegas. And so, not to belabor the point, they have signed Eli Barzilai in a 180-pound catchweight bout at KC53 Denver in a pit submission featured match against Thug Nasty Bryce Mitchell. And so it is going to be Eli Barzilai representing Israel against Bryce Mitchell, who, of course, it must be said, was caught in the crossfire just a couple of weeks ago when on the very first episode of Arkansanity, he went on this disgusting rant about Adolf Hitler and about what he was trying to do back when he was alive and in power, and about Jewish people. And so they are, let's be honest, tapping right into it. And they have signed this for next Friday.
This is fucking ridiculous. What is this? The UFC's letting him go and fight in karate combat?
No, grappling though.
So it's grappling.
Okay, so it's just grappling. That's why he's able to do this.
Yes, it is grappling.
Strategic play here by karate combat.
Oh, 100%,
I gotta say,
this is actually this is going to be a very emotionally charged. Like Eli is quite outspoken, and this is no
what
coincidence.
if a fight breaks out?
Well, that's my fear. I had some real problems. I had some real problems when the Dricus versus Israel Adesanya conversation was 0% focused about a fight and all focused on the nationalistic kind of like thing that they were going into. And this one even like furthers that or like blows it out of the water. So I'm concerned about like what happens at a press conference and a setting.
Who knows
where
if they'll do all that, to be honest. And I did ask yesterday if Mitchell joined the fray as a result of everything that happened, and they said that no, they had something in place with him before all of this. But of course, I mean, it's the elephant in the room. I mean, look at the poster. Look at the poster. Look at the flag
with an Israeli flag. Yeah. I mean, this feels a little bit ridiculous, especially Bryce Mitchell coming out. I think it was yesterday or something, and he's just like, "Don't worry, everybody. There will be an episode 2 of Arkansanity."
Okay,
as if anyone was clamoring for that. And he said that he doesn't care what anyone thinks about him except his Lord and Savior above him.
Here's my theory.
Okay, so
let me throw out a theory.
All right. I want to respond to something that Connor just said, but go ahead.
Sure.
Theory. Whoa.
Siri, bro.
I said theory and Siri, not you, Siri. Theory. This is the Bryce. Shut up. This is the Bryce Mitchell softening redemption. Hey, I'm showing that this is not how I truly am. Let's make peace type thing. They have a competitive grappling match. They shake hands afterwards. Bryce Mitchell says he's learned his lesson, and they move on from there. Your thoughts on that potentially being the direction this goes, as opposed to continuing the conflict?
I don't know.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't think he's trying. I don't think he's trying to soften anything, to be honest. I don't think he's trying to soften anything. In fact, he's saying, if you don't agree with me, if you don't like me, then to hell with you. I think he got a lot of heat from people for his quote-unquote apology, if you want to call it that. And now he's like, F that. I don't think there's going to be any softening. I don't think there's going to be any shaking hands. And I think it's going to be very emotionally charged. And GC, you use the word ridiculous. I don't know what's ridiculous, what's not anymore. Longtime fans will remember that Noad Lahat was booked against Ramzi Nijam back in the day. Nijam, a proud Palestinian fighter, Noad Lahat representing Israel. That was a fight that the UFC booked probably around 10 or so years ago. Now, at that moment, the times weren't as emotional as they are right now. But I think this is karate combat, just if you want to say capitalizing on a moment and a situation. And I think Eli Barzilai, I have not spoken to him, is all over this, wants to do this, and I think Bryce Mitchell isn't going to back down. But I don't think this is them trying to soften Mitchell or trying to rectify or do anything like that. I think this is them going. I think this is Mitchell going 2 feet into the deep end. And quite frankly, I think this is Barzilai saying, "I'm going to do this for Jewish people who he he offended.
Honestly, a real concern I have is Bryce Mitchell. He's obviously a competent grappler. Is him winning and then Barzilai getting very emotional about it and like a real fight breaking out.
Or vice versa, right?
I guess vice versa as well.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
It does feel like it's going to be very emotionally charged.
Very emotionally charged. And I'm actually trying to find the exact quote from Bryce Mitchell, if I could find it here, because I do think it is. I'm seeing a lot of Dana White's quote. I'm seeing, here it is. This was part of the quote. He said, "I honestly think Hitler was a good guy based on my own research, not my public education indoctrination. I really do think before Hitler got on meth, he was a guy I'd go fishing with." There was more. Do we have it here? I think Jordan is sending it to me because I think for those. No. Okay, well, he called him a good guy, and he said he wanted to purify Germany from the greedy Jews, and he said that the Jews were turning the Germans into homosexuals. 2 weeks ago, Eli Barzilai posted on Instagram this, "Thug Nasty, you are brave with your opinions in front of the camera. Disappointed to hear that from an athlete in your level because I had no idea that you're dumb, but Josh," meaning Emmett, "probably destroyed that brain. Me and my Jewish friends will not be quiet about that. If you really think like that, I welcome you to keep that same energy next time you are around me because I will come right to you. Enough with the stupid people around. They feel too comfortable." This was 2 weeks ago, 1,800 likes. He's going for it, and they're capitalizing on it.
Yeah. Feels unnecessary.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know if this is... Look,
honestly, I'll just say this. No denying, I'm a very proud Jewish person. What Bryce Mitchell said was stupid. It was idiotic. It was dumb. It was unfounded. It was insulting. Jewish people have had to eat a lot of shit over the past year and a half, and I know a lot of people will be very excited about the opportunity of a proud Jew going up against someone who believes the things that Bryce Mitchell believes in. Is that what fight sports are about? Is that what it should be about? I don't know. I don't know what to believe anymore. Today's been a very tough day after what we saw in the Middle East, and I'm not going to get into all of that. But I could see a lot of people being very excited about watching this. And by the way, I could see a lot of people who believe in what Bryce Mitchell believes in being very excited about him, beating up. It's a grappling match.
Right, it is a grappling match. Like, it isn't an official fighter.
It is until it isn't, right? It's a grappling match until it isn't.
By the way, how are they going to contain the emotion?
That's what I don't get.
That's what I'm saying. Say, dude, I'm sorry, what is his name again?
Eli Barzilai.
Say Barzilai gets him in a chokehold and like Bryce Mitchell starts tapping and he just starts squeezing harder and harder. I mean, I don't know. It just feels...
Or vice versa.
Vice versa. Bryce Mitchell.
I don't know. I don't know if this is the right thing to capitalize on. I will say...
It's ridiculous.
It's effective, right? We're talking about it now on the show. There will be
clips everywhere.
Of people talking about this.
Are you guys surprised? Are you surprised that the UFC is allowing Bryce to do this?
Yes.
Yeah, just like... I don't know. It feels, it just like kind of feels like a circus act. Like it just feels so intentional what they're doing. Like
I imagine that the UFC probably, like, I don't know how that, maybe you know this better. I don't know how the permission of like when the fighters ask for permission to go do grappling outside of the UFC's grappling events, how that works. If it's like, we need to know this, we need to know the date, we need to know the promotion, we need to know the opponent. I don't know if that level of scrutiny is applied to when it is. I'm not surprised by them letting Bryce Mitchell grapple. I am a little bit surprised that if they know all these facts, that this would be something that they'd be interested in Bryce Mitchell doing as his next step after these comments. And then who knows what he gets on the mic and says, win or lose. If he, it just feels like it's such an uncontainable quantity.
I was just going to say that beyond the fight, like the amount of opportunities that they're going to have to say heinous things throughout the entire thing is limitless.
I don't know. I'm too close to the sun on this one. And I'm just, I guess, a little surprised. Like Dana White sat there and said, you can watch him fight in the UFC. And has he changed his stance? Are they trying to distance themselves from him? You have someone like that who, let's be honest, there's a lot of people who agree with Bryce Mitchell. And I would imagine the next time he fought, it would draw a lot of attention, right? And so do you want his first time back where people don't really know what's the difference between karate combat and UFC and all this stuff? Did you want his first time back to be not under your banner?
Well, Well, there's that
or
element.
maybe they want that to distance themselves or to soften the blow, to get it out of it. I don't know what to believe.
There's that element, but what if the next thing he says on the microphone is like the same type of rhetoric, and then it's Dana having to put out that fire again? It's the same kind of thing where he has to get up there.
He might win. He might win and get on the microphone and say,
"I was right. I'm doubling down." Like, I don't know if they want those headaches and those problems.
I literally found out about this 2 minutes ago. I don't know how to feel about anything anymore.
Was like, I guess it's just the state of modern combat sports, right? Like, we are in a time when anything is possible. Like, we talked about, we have often discussed, and you've talked about this, like that feeling like maybe the Conor McGregor versus Khabib thing went too far.
Oh, yeah.
Is there even a line anymore? Is there anything that is too far at this point? Like, I don't know. Again, though, I think really important distinction here is this is a grappling match. This is not a fight. This is not a boxing match. This is not an MMA fight. This is a grappling match. I think that can be a benefit to it being more self-contained, but who knows if they stick to those rules. That's my concern.
It might be working against itself, the fact that it's a grappling match, because the emotions may get so
you don't get the opportunity to release that.
Like how do you just contain yourself and keep it to grab? I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It is a little 1991 WWE, right?
I was just thinking this is just WWE like to a T. It's just like, let's have the guy that said anti-Semitic things fight a guy from Israel and see what happens.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I honestly,
what else are we going to talk about?
Because of like the explosion potential, like it volcanoing over, is what's going to make me have an eye on it.
Yeah, I have to watch it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, karate combat is in that world right now, right? Like they are looking for attention. They're trying to break out of the pack. They're trying to get noticed.
I know that is true, and I often say that, but sometimes there is a limit. Like there really is a limit sometimes.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the answer is here. I mean, I think your guys's for lack of a better terminology is more valid than mine in this regard.
Yeah,
because to me it's just it's a lot to deal with. But you guys are more level-headed and clear-minded. So your reaction to me is a lot more interesting.
I think at first I was like, well, this is ridiculous and funny. And then the more I thought on it, I was like, it also feels unnecessary. It feels like we don't need to do this, but I guess they're going to, and we'll see what happens.
Before we let you go, how about the stones on Martin Bacoli and Joseph Parker?
I thought we were going to get the Alonzo Menafield Julius Walker prediction, but we can talk Bacoli.
It's crazy. I mean, I'm asking people if it's 100%. I haven't gotten the 100%. I've gotten the it looks like it, but again, it's coming from the Ring, who all of a sudden has become an authority when it comes to breaking news.
Yeah,
they're
pretty good at breaking news.
The Ring has learned.
It's crazy. I didn't think it would be someone like him. Like, look, they got Josh Padley, who's kind of like a domestic fighter, as they call them, to fight Shakur Stevenson. Bacoli isn't a domestic fighter. I mean, Bacoli's coming off a tremendous win, and I believe was scheduled to fight on that May 2nd card in New York City, if my memory serves me correct. The Ryan Garcia one and Devin Haney on the card as well. And so I think it's a huge opportunity for him. And the reason I tweeted what I tweeted was Parker deserves all the credit in the world for staying on the card. He's getting paid. I get that. But if he wins, I would like to see him fight Alexander Usyk, because Usyk has 2 fights left, and I think he has done enough. He showed up. He shouldn't be, he shouldn't be, what's the word, dinged for it. And then Bacoli, if he wins, now all of a sudden puts himself right in the mix. You get the fight against Dubois, IBF title fight, and then maybe you can fight for the undisputed gold if you get there. If anything, this might actually answer the question as to what Usyk's last 2 fights are going to be, because instead of Parker and Dubois fighting each other, it might end up being the winner of Parker Bacoli, and then either Dubois or Dubois fighting Bacoli if he beats Parker, Parker fighting Usyk if he beats Bacoli. You get what I'm saying? Also, AJ apparently is now a part of the DAZN broadcast, so who knows what will happen there. Can he get the 3rd fight? Probably not, but crazier things have happened.
Thrown him in there.
Yeah, I don't know if that's worth it. Imagine coming off a knockout, him against Joseph Parker.
He was going to go into the set, and he just comes out.
But by the way, can I just say, it's very UFC. Like, boxing didn't usually work this way. Guy gets hurt, guy gets sick, fight week, the fight's just off.
Well,
but you're seeing Turkey operate very much like Dana White. Guy gets hurt, guy gets injured, guy gets sick, and it's just been confirmed to me that it is 100%. So
Wow.
Next man up, and now they've done it twice. This feels very UFC,
and a pretty big name, and like a guy,
this is the best you can
towards
do.
the top. Like this is like the best they could do under the circumstances. It's really impressive.
It's not better than Dubois. You said it was better than Dubois. It's not better than Dubois.
Not a better fight. You wouldn't want to see this more? I want to see it more.
No, but I just wanted to see the two guys peaking. Dubois coming off the
that's the stakes.
The win.
That's the stakes. I want to see Martin Bakole throw some hammers.
Title at the end.
No, that's the stakes.
Unbelievable.
I want to see Bakole throw some hammers. I said this earlier. It's very MMA. In boxing, losses are catastrophic. And maybe it's a new era. Losses used to be catastrophic, right? It used to mean you get to the back of the line, you're not as good as we thought you were. You have to work your way up, and it takes forever. You wouldn't step into this opportunity because you don't want to lose that spot. You don't want to fall to the back of the line. You don't want to be the guy who risked it and then lost it. It's why we saw them fighting cupcakes for so long, and then they build their record to 20-0, and then they finally have a real fight. This is the opposite of that. This is that UFC model. This is that, like, if you lose, hey, you're still in the mix, and you can find a way back to the top. I love it. I love opportunities like this. I do worry what the downside is for the potential loser, but for another day, for them to figure out on the back end of it. In the interim, we get a fantastic fight. And
what a time, guys.
I like it more.
Time.
Sorry, boys. I like it better.
What
so good that it makes you want to hop on the watch party on Saturday?
Watch party Saturday. No, listen. No, not busy. That's you guys' thing. And
we've
never
doing
actually
use
gotten the
guys
invite.
now.
Yeah. Well, what do you say, y'all?
Yeah, that's y'all's thing.
Y'all's thing. I like use guys'. Feels like a very Northeast type of thing.
Yins,
no, listen,
Western PA.
Yins, yeah, with a Z, right?
Yeah.
No, well, I mean, look. We've got a lot more to discuss. We've got the crack tomorrow. We got the watch party. We got the post show. We got uncrowned.com doing our things. I mean, it's a real time to be a combat sports fans. How lucky are we guys? You know, how lucky are we? And by the way, in case that wasn't enough for you, we got Canada USA Part 2 tonight. Yeah,
we'll see you later tonight, brother.
Yeah. And by the way, don't think I didn't notice. You took down the Canadian flag.
You're damn right I did,
I saw that shit.
You're damn right
don't get too comfortable over there. Rick, I expect better from you.
Me? What am I supposed to do?
Put that Canadian flag back up there. The fuck? The fuck?
This is not for me. This is not for me.
When you come in, we can go to Chuck Brothers and everything on you.
What is Chuck Brothers? Oh,
Chuck
Brothers. Yes. I'm inspecting every single item on there, and if anything is a centimeter off,
I'm waiting for Monday. You're gonna come in and be like, you guys pushed everything forward. I'm like, man, all I did was simply move the black.
Literally put. Well,
you guys
clearly
moved everything around.
Clearly, you moved the flag too. First time. You never moved that flag. I appreciate that the flag remains.
I usually do both flags.
He's saying usually removes them. Yeah.
No, I've seen it.
One last thing. We pull up the uncrown.com. Some fantastic artwork on here leading up into these fights. The one of Beterbiev with the big boxing glove. It's shout out to uncrown.com, man.
Oh my God! Shout out to Taylor, the whole squad over there. Elliot wrote great pieces on Bivol and Beterbiev. Everyone's. I mean, look.
Chuck
Chuck.
Okay.
Working through the kinks. Chuck too. Yeah, that's right.
Prediction. Beterbiev Bivol. I need it.
Well, on Tuesday's episode of Ariel Helwani, which you can watch right now on DAZN, you can listen to it on our pod feed. I went with Beterbiev, if only because I was trying to be a homer because he trains out of Montreal. First time around, I went with Bivol. If I'm being 100% honest and not going with my heart, I think Bivol figures it out. I thought he won the first fight, and I think he'll figure it out in the rematch.
I was very compelled by Adi picking Beterbiev.
I'm going red, white, and blue this weekend. I'm going Team USA tonight, and then Bivol from Russia on Saturday.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yep. I mean,
red,
a different kind of red, white, and blue.
Red, white, and blue.
I'll go with Bivol. I'll go with Song Yadong.
Now, do they do it a third time?
Hernandez.
Is it not the last crescendo?
Nah.
You can crescendo one more time, even after the last crescendo.
F that.
The final crescendo.
Yeah, it's like what's his name? Derek Chisora. The last dance.
Yeah, the last dance.
The second to last dance.
Yeah.
Beterbiev Bivol 3, one more crescendo. Can't wait.
The crescendo.
Cena, Rock, once in a lifetime. A
And
year
then
later,
rematch.
Cedar Rock 2.
All right.
But it's going to be a great Saturday, and who knows? Maybe I'll talk to you guys in like 10 minutes.
I was
for
going to
more
say we'll
breaking
see you in
news.
45 minutes for another round of breaking news, man. Appreciate
You
you.
guys have that seems loud. I don't know if that
That was
should it be that
very
loud,
hot.
Frank.
That was very hot.
Should it be that loud?
Oh, evidence.
Yeah. Okay.
week,
Yeah.
No flags.
Last week. Go back to the beginning. Go back 100% in the early days. Yeah, we were in the midst of the four nations at that point. Of course, you didn't have the flags. Go back to the beginning. Hey, Jordan, whose side are you on, bro? Whose side are you on?
Damn, Helwani's
The side
up
of
for blood.
America.
We are the world, man. We are
I'm
the
passive
world.
in this.
winners.
Jordan's passive in this, and we're getting heat. We didn't even do anything.
All right, Ariel.
Well, I'm just saying, keep the damn flag up. All right, peace.
Bye.
Go Canada. Bye-bye.
Damn. I should have had my I have my Stars and Stripes shirt somewhere in here where it's literally just all Stars and Stripes and my flag. I should have had it. Technically,
what
the
a-
flag still is up. Technically, the flag is up. All right.
What a wild day. What a break. By the way, what a breaking news break-in.
I had no idea where he was
Bryce
going
Mitchell.
with that.
Yeah.
I had no idea where he was going with that. Let's see. Bryce Mitchell is going to be grappling against. Yeah, there it is. There it is.
What was his name?
Eli
Eli
Barzilay.
Barzilay.
That's
All right.
something. That is certainly something.
I still don't quite know what to make of it, but I just hope literally all I don't care about it in the sense that
Don't care.
no, what I should clarify. What I mean by I don't care about it is I don't care about the outcome, right? I don't care Bryce Mitchell won by submission, Eli won by submit. That part doesn't matter to me. I just do not want anybody to be in a worse spot after this than they started.
I think they're going to.
That's all I want. I
think
just
they're
want
going to.
this not to be putrid.
It has so many opportunities to get ugly. I think it's probably gonna be
Yeah,
ugly.
unfortunately.
All right. So where's that happening? Does anyone know where that?
Denver, I think he said.
Okay. All right. So we went from Seattle to Riyadh to Denver. Now we go back to Seattle. Let's put a bow on our UFC Seattle preview. We were talking about Fluffy Hernandez and Brendan Allen before Helwani joined and broke the news for us. I'm gonna say Fluffy Hernandez stays hot, moves into the top 10, and then he gets a Jared Cannonier type fight.
I don't mind it.
I don't mind it one bit. I think he stays hot. A couple other fights on this card that I wanted to talk about. Rob Font, man. You got to feel for Rob Font in this situation. Kind of like you got to feel for Shakur and Joseph Parker. Rob Font goes from fighting a legend in Dominic Cruz in the co-main event, a fight that was going to have a ton of eyes on it, a fight that he was favored in against a name in Dominic Cruz. Dominic Cruz obviously injured, has now retired because of the injury, and now he gets undefeated Gene Matsumoto, 16-0. Now he is an underdog in his fight. It's just man, tough draw.
But isn't that the Rob Font way? Isn't the Rob Font way to just take on all comers? Doesn't matter. He's to me, he's like a Magny. He's like a Neil Magny in the sense that he's a guy who's going to hang around the top of the division. He's so skilled. Yeah, there's some deficiencies. There's some opportunities for the cream of the crop to kind of find those opportunities against him. But he's going to hang around. He's going to be near the top, and he's going to take on the young up-and-comers. He's going to take on the vets. He's going to take on everybody. He's just a dog. He's just exactly what you would. This is exactly what I would expect from Rob Font. Stay on the card and to fight somebody extremely tough.
Don't sleep either. He just is coming off a win against Kyler Phillips that he cashed as a plus 350 dog. I
was a
believe in Rob
huge
Font.
dog against Yanez and was able to pull that off. Font
round
does
knockout on
this.
that one.
Font does this sometimes. So this is exactly what I'd expect from Rob Font.
He's been fighting some dudes lately too. His run lately is Marlon Moraes, Ricky Simone, Marlon Moraes. Before that, this run is crazy.
Yeah,
actually.
tell me.
Pedro Munoz, Thomas Almeida, Douglas Silva de Andrade before that, Matt Schnell before that, Rafael Asuncao, Sergio Pettis, Ricky Simone, Marlon Moraes, Cody Garbrandt, Jose Aldo, Marlon Vera, Adrian Yanez, Corey Sandhagen, Davison Figueiredo, Kyler Phillips.
Yeah, he's a gangster.
Here's Gene Matsumoto for you, Robbie. Enjoy that one.
I'm a big fan of Rob Font. That guy's incredible.
Huge fan. Has joined the watch party before. Is now a proud member of the Bald Brotherhood. I don't know if you guys
do. I have a picture of him.
Yeah, I think we do have a picture of him. Obviously, I know this was meant to be later, but Rob Font, no longer with the hair, looking good too,
smooth,
bald beard brand, strong going into UFC Seattle.
Damn, you're getting a lot of brothers. You're picking up members of the club lately.
A little bit of inspiration. Fight Feast enjoyer, Fight Feast viewer. I posted the the Philly cheesesteak one, he DM'd me. He was like, man, shit looks fire. I was like, Robbie!
Wow, Rob Font. Shout out.
Robbie! Yeah, going to be a great fight, though. I believe in Rob Font. To get it done. Another Brazilian, not Gene Matsumoto, but Jean Silva.
Yeah.
Is taking on Melsik Bagdasaryan, the biggest favorite on the card. Fighting nerds are back. Are we going to see the glasses? Are we going to see the dog barking anytime he comes into the octagon? It might take him a while to get there. I think he holds the record for one of the longest walkouts.
Yeah.
But once he gets there, it's exciting.
He's a very intense man. After he wins, a very smiley man. I'm a fan of his work in the octagon. He brings the violence. And I'm not surprised he's a huge favorite. I expect him to do very well. We talked about believing in Rob Font. I definitely believe in him. That I will say for certain. I believe he can be a contender.
Yeah, I mean we'll see. I don't know if this is the fight that's going to get him
It doesn't propel
ranked.
him, no.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to push him up the rankings or anything like that. But like, he's lurking. He's lurking to get in that top 15. I think sooner or later you're going to have to give him a fight that can get him into those rankings. So that one should be exciting as well. Alonzo Menafield, a favorite in this our year 2025 against Julius Walker. Ion Kutalaba versus Ibo Aslan. That should be just pure chaos. I mean, just sign me up. You said you wanted to see Bacoli come in and just throw some lunch boxes around. I imagine Kutalaba
I think he will.
Is going to be pretty exciting as well. Andre Fili on the card, which is pretty good. Ricky Simone, Javi Bashrat is a sneaker on the prelims. That is a sneaky great fight at 135. What do you make of the debut of...
How about our boy Austin?
I was going to say, what do you make of the debut of Austin Vanderford?
Yeah,
Zanderford.
It's fascinating. I think he's somebody who can be at least a name that you could throw on a card and people are going to pay attention to. We'll see. I mean, look, this is a good opportunity for him and a real chance to prove that like the competition in Bellator was legit enough that you actually can see that he has some skills and showcase that. I think he can be don't get me wrong. I don't think Austin's going to be a champion in the UFC, but I think he can be somebody that hangs around for quite a bit if he's able to showcase the skills. And I think this is a good opportunity for him. This is a perfect, I don't know if they were working on this for a while, right? And just didn't announce it, or if it was one of those things that came together last minute.
Felt very last minute.
Just based on how, close to the fight card the announcement happened.
Yeah.
But I think it's a real shot for him. It's one of those where it's like, you're going to sink or swim. You're going to show that you can hang in the UFC, or you're just going to, show up at Power Slap when Paige Van Zant's over there and be Mr. Van Zant. But I think he's got some legitimate skills. I think the competition at Bellator showed me at least that he's got skills that will keep him around in the division. So let's see what he can do.
This is just like a perfect fight night card.
Yeah,
put it in front
it's pretty good.
Put it in front of a crowd. You got some great fights on there. I think the fans in Seattle are going to be very excited. I think they're
Are there
very loud.
locals? Are there
That is the only thing that it's lacking.
Austin is from the Pacific Northwest, right? Or he at least lives there. Where's
I believe
Austin
so. But
Vanderford from?
no Michael Chiesa.
The names that you would expect are not, right?
No, obviously Juliana.
Okay,
Pena
he's from
Washington,
California, but I believe they live in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, there's no big this guy reps the Pacific Northwest on the card, but that kind of is what it is. And I have to say,
does he drive a Subaru? Because that's usually an indicator.
Yeah. Wow.
Good one, Frank.
Really stereotyping the people of the Pacific Northwest there, Frankie. I just sent this to Jordan on Slack. The poster for this one. I am normally the biggest hater on the UFC poster department. Just throw on the.
This
faces.
one's pretty good.
I like this one, man. I cannot lie. I love how they did the Seattle Mariners color with the skyline in the back. You got the Space Needle and everything. And then you got the rain texture on the front of it, a little homage to Seattle. I don't mind it. I don't mind it one bit. And it's kind of Cejudo's song and Bantamweight bout. They're all kind of blurry because of the rain. It's good shit. Shout out to Seattle.
It's fine. I will say the Sonics and the Mariners
pecking away over here like the like a damn receptionist at a dentist office.
The Sonics and the Mariners both have good logo and color schemes.
Yeah, I mean, can we
solid,
also
very solid
about that? Sonics out right there.
Although I like bright yellow and bright green Sonics over
Supersonics.
Yes,
I think that's
exactly
what it was. Yeah, when they upgraded to being the Supersonics. Yeah, so I mean,
Jesus Christ, not for real.
So it's been reported that Figgy and the Sandman are locked in for Des Moines, Iowa on May 3rd.
Des Moines is getting a fight night? Is that the actual breaking news in this one? Main event, Davison Figueiredo versus Corey Sandhagen?
Yeah, that Frank is correct. Confirmed by Ariel. First reported by a Brazilian guy. I don't want to butcher his name. His first name is Leo.
Leo Guimarães.
Yeah.
You can follow him at Leo Guimarães MMA on Twitter. Yeah. Wow. Exclusive from him. UFC sets Davison Figueiredo versus Corey Sandhagen match for May 3rd. The event does not yet have a defined location, but the expectation is that it will be in Des Moines, Iowa. Wow.
And Ariel has confirmed to me, he said for Iowa when I asked him about it.
This also says fighters await position to find out whether the fight will last 3 or 5 rounds. Man, a fight night in Des Moines, Iowa, that feels like this would be the headliner, no?
What is happening that this is happening in Des Moines? Why is Figgy and Sandhagen?
That's what I'm saying. Figgy Sandhagen is fight night Des Moines. UFC Des Moines, Iowa?
Yeah, what?
I'm down. A little corn dip.
Oh, I was going the
Grilled
opposite
corn?
direction. I see what you're doing here. I don't know. Like, okay. I mean, look
at Des Moines.
I had
looked at Des
Figgy
Moines.
versus
Beautiful
Sandhagen on when we did the fantasy booking for 314, 315, 316, and 317. So I'm down for it. I like the fight a lot. It feels bizarre that's happening in Des Moines, but shut up.
Des Moines. If you're from Des Moines and you're listening.
Wait, you said not main event?
There's this report from Leo Guimarães MMA. He says the fighters are waiting to find out whether or not it will last 3 or 5 rounds, which I think would indicate whether it's the main event or not. But that feels like that has to be the main event. Top 5 bantamweight bout.
How could
2
it
big
not
names.
be? What
Feels
else
like
are
it
they
has
bringing to Des Moines?
I don't know, man. But if you're listening and you're from Des Moines, I am sorry. Des Moines looks like a drag, huh?
Oh, jeez. We're not going to do that.
People at Des Moines are going to.
You were just big up and you were hype. You're like, Des Moines, let's go to Des Moines.
I'm looking
and
at,
now you're like, oh, boy.
I'm looking at this one picture of it. I mean, this. Okay, I think Des Moines falls in. I have this certain tier of city.
Okay.
And no disrespect to any of these cities, but it's just like
pound for
except
pound?
here's the disrespect.
It's just like the Birmingham, Alabamas, the Hartford, Connecticut's of the world. Like this, just like these oddly tiered cities that it's just like you're never really gonna go there unless like you have to go there.
Providence,
Why?
Rhode Island.
All
Providence,
hate
Rhode
mail
Island.
directed
Not
to
bad.
Connor Burks at
Des Moines looks like.
shout out to my people in the Quad Cities.
I just feel like there's a pound for pound worst cities in the United States coming up in our future, or best.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that it's on there.
If Jordan could get this one picture that I just sent them, I mean, it's just like no, I love Des Moines. I'm down to go.
Sounds like it.
It's got a
Sounds
nice
like it.
bridge. It looks like some sort of Chinese monument. This bridge is great. How big is the arena there? Des Moines, Iowa Arena. Also, I feel like Figgy's going to get a big pop in Des Moines. Wells Fargo Arena.
Yeah, Figgy's probably the hero of Des Moines.
Sorry, Ariel's saying not 100%. He wants me to repeat that. It's not 100% yet, but they are working on it. So,
Okay.
So hopefully
Close.
Des Moines gets
close, but
Figgy
not
versus
100%
Sandy.
per Ariel Helwani.
Wells Fargo Arena, man. It holds 16,000 people. That's not bad.
Here's Des Moines for you.
Yeah.
Looks
Shout
like a
out.
great American city.
I'm down. Do we go to Fight Night Des Moines?
I think we have to.
I think we have to as well.
I'll let you guys do that. I'll be home.
What's a flight to Des Moines cost?
You guys handle
I
that.
think
Oh,
they pay you
shit.
to go there. Yeah.
Wells Fargo Arena, former home of the Iowa Barnstormers. I forgot about that. Arena Football League. A great team. A couple Eastern Conference championships for the Iowa Barnstormers. Never got the Arena Bowl or anything, but I mean, you know.
I didn't know your knowledge of the arena football was so deep.
Hosted Tony Hawk's Boom Boom Huck Jam back in 2005.
Tony Hawk's
If Des Moines is good enough
Huck
for,
Jam.
if Des Moines is good enough for Tony Hawk's Boom Boom Huck Jam 2005, it's good enough for Figueiredo Sandhagen.
Huck Jam.
Hey, Slipknot played in Des Moines twice. Oh,
They're from Iowa, but I don't know what venue they would play at in Des Moines.
Shit. Green Day. Garth Brooks had 6 sold-out shows in Des Moines. Jimmy Buffett came down there. Rest in peace. Drake came to Des Moines, Iowa in 2016.
Here's the problem.
Wow.
If your city
Nia Twain.
has enough capacity that you can list every single artist who has visited, it's probably not a good sign.
I'm actually not even talking about Des Moines as a city. I'm talking about Wells Fargo Arena in Des Moines. Elton John
So I'm
farewell
looking
tour.
at TripAdvisor right now, guys.
Yeah, what
and,
are you seeing?
the top 15 attractions in Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah,
Number
let's hear it.
1, Capitol Building.
I'm there.
for sure.
Let's get a tour.
Wonder what the post
Number
office is
2?
like.
Meet the
Downtown
governor.
Farmers Market.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm fucking down. You seeing the
Gotta
Blank
get your
Park
fresh
Zoo on there at
produce.
all? They hosted the NCAA Women's Volleyball Championships in 2016. I'm in. Des Moines.
What about the Tony Hawk
Biggie?
Boom Boom Huck tour?
Nah, man. I have a little bit of respect. 05 Tony Hawk Boom Boom Huck Champ. You don't know about the Boom Boom Huck Champ? Come on, man. Seriously.
Oh shit!
Shout out, dude.
Oh.
Shout out. All right, so
I just love the hate for Des Moines, Iowa.
we never said we hated Des Moines.
Okay.
It just looks like a middling city in America.
This is like, remember a while back where they did the like Cleveland commercial, or was it Detroit? I think it was Cleveland.
No, it was Detroit.
It was
Talking
for
about
Detroit.
Tosh.0?
I don't know. Was it on Tosh.0? I saw it on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah. I think it was Tosh.0.
Yeah.
No,
nah,
or
shout
was
out
it
to Des
Cleveland?
Moines.
I think it was Cleveland.
It was
because
Cleveland.
he ends in, he's like, at least we're not Detroit.
Yes.
We're not Detroit. Yeah, I mean, all love to Des Moines, Iowa.
Shout out to the Midwest. Shout out to.
I'm from Des Moines, Iowa. Oh, shit, that's sick. That's what I'm going to say when I meet someone from Des Moines, Iowa.
You're going. You're going
Were
to fight
you
night.
How old are you? You were born in 93? That's like the perfect time for you to go to Tony Hawk's Boom Boom Huck Jam in 2005. That must have been sick. I'm jelly, bro. All right. That's UFC Seattle, and we just touched on UFC Des Moines. And I guess we're just waiting for more breaking news to come through at some point.
We might as well just stay on air till tomorrow,
I
right?
mean, I'm just waiting at this point. It's
We'll
just
just-
like I can't relax right now. I'm
we'll
just
feed into
waiting
the
to-
crack. We'll just, as soon as we're going off
Yeah.
air, we'll just like, Pizzy, take it over.
Pizza, you come on a couple hours early. We'll just stay on. Streamathon. I'm down. All right.
UFC, sorry, USA Canada watch party. We can just keep.
I'm
doing
down.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
down.
do it.
That's not a bad shout, Frankie. Let's order some poutine, some wings, some burgers. Let's just get the cuisine of both of them. I'm super down with that. All right. UFC Seattle. That was the recap. That was the preview of UFC Seattle. We'll do the fight feast in just a minute. Before that, we got to do our picks, the bets, the parlay pals. Parlay pals on a rough run. 2024.
Pizzy on a rough run.
How long do we go before we are like, we really start talking about like, man, when do we stop doing this to ourselves? Yeah, there we
Never.
are. Okay. All right.
There's
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
randomizer.
There it is. There's the kayfabe just gone.
Never,
Kayfabe.
never retreat, never surrender. Oh, that they showed the picks.
Kayfabe just.
I'm just
Who the
gonna-
fuck is we?
I'll see
Kayfabe
my way
just
out.
gone.
I'm out of here.
Kayfabe just gone. Shout out to Jordan in the back. Shout out to Andy in the back. All right, so yeah, there it was. We actually already made our picks because Pizzy was busy, so he couldn't give our picks live. Yeah, randomizer. Kayfabe is completely broken. The Parlay Pals kayfabe is broken.
No, they just knew. They knew what we were going to pick ahead of time. They intuited it. Like we had transmitted this telepathically to Jordan, and Jordan got
Kayfabe
it
is
done.
broken. The kayfabe is broken.
Honestly, most of the time I'm okay with being thrown under the bus. This one, not my fault.
Okay. All right. We'll have our post production meeting. Blames will be thrown around aggressively.
That's assuming we ever get off the air.
I think we've been on too long. That's what's happening.
Frankie, you knew this was going to be a long episode. We said it going into it.
No, I
we
have
knew it
no
was going to be a
problem.
long
Just like
episode.
there is definitely no post show.
What do you got?
Because we keep going.
Yeah, you got a doctor's appointment. Frankie, man, the papers don't even hit the floor by the time this.
Andy and I are going to
Broadway.
Broadway tonight. So
Well, what are we
What are you seeing?
the Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay. All right. So to recap the picks, what we were gonna pick, kayfabe gone now. Pizzi took Jean Silva. Rick took Javid Basharat. I took Abdul Malik and Klein under 2.5, and Frank took Font Matsumoto over 2.5.
We're still in the black.
Still in the black. Have not won yet once in 2024. Struggling. Or I mean, 2025. I'm getting old. Target 2025. We
We're
haven't
gonna get
won
back on
once
track.
in 2025. All right. We can still do my bets though. Let's start with the boxing, and then I will go into UFC Seattle. Here we go. Now we can show the graphics. Okay. All right. Shakur Stevenson by decision. This is the updated matchup against Josh Padley. So he's like minus 4,500 in this one, but I'm going to take him by decision. Is he going to win? Yeah. Is he going to win by finish? Probably, but
You think so?
he has won 4 of his last 5 by decision. 6 of his last 8 have also come by decision. I just think it's such a mismatch that he probably finishes him. And he wants
He's
to put
not a
statement.
power puncher, man.
I
I
know.
like this better.
It's going to be a little bit of a sweat. I'll say that. But you're getting a minus 4,000 at plus 200.
Yeah.
And his like most likely outcome whenever he fights is by way of decision. So plus 200. I'm down to just take a shot on it. Let's roll along to the next one. Zhilei Zhang, Big Bang Zhang by KO. This one I feel nice about because 15 of his last 16 wins come by KO. I said it earlier. Kill or be killed, more like kill or gas out and then lose in the later rounds.
It's just kill. Just kill.
It's kill, dude. 15 of his last 16 wins by KO. So you're getting in a guy who's sitting around like plus 125, plus 130, and you're able to bump that up to plus 250 by far his most likely win condition. I was going to bet on Zhilei Zhang anyway. I was going to bet on Big Bang Zhang anyway, but you're giving me his KO at plus 250. I'm going to throw some cheddar down on it. Shout out to Big Bang. Pride of China. Pride of New Jersey as well. And then I was going to bet on Joseph Parker. Had him at plus 235. Unfortunately, we lose that one. We'll see what the line is against.
I wonder what the line is going to be, actually. That's an interesting one.
We're going to see. I would imagine he'll be the favorite now, but we shall see. And then to the main event, I already discussed it earlier. Dmitry Bivol, plus 105.
Yeah, coin flip again. I mean,
think it's just a coin flip, and I think it gets the judge's nod this time. I was on Beterbiev last time. I scored it slightly for him. Wouldn't have doubted you if you'd gone against Bivol, but man, just such a close fight. And can we talk?
Was it a coin flip last time? It was, right? It was like close odds?
Yeah, I think I got Beterbiev at like plus 115. So if I can thread the needle of hitting both these guys at plus money, I will feel pretty good about myself. Think it's going to be a fantastic fight. Think it's going to be incredibly close, incredibly intriguing matchup. Can we talk about the picture of Beterbiev too? I mean, look at that thing.
It's pretty.
I think he's got 7 belts on, got undisputed, got all the belts you could possibly want. It's just, it's insane. If I ever take a picture where I look even 1% as cool as that, it'll be hung up in my house. I promise you that much.
Once you beat Brady and you get your first belt,
fuck yeah. We have to have a belt for that. After he goes and beats Leon in London, I am a supporter of his fight game. I'm just not a supporter of his bike game.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that much. All right, let's go to the UFC Seattle bets. I start with the curtain jerker, Modestas Bukakas. I'm going to take this one to go over 1.5 against Cerquiera. 7 of Bukakis' last 8 have gone over the 1.5. I know every single fight for Cerquiera has finished in round 1 except for 3. But when he does go out of round 1, it always goes over 1.5. And this feels like the time. Step up in competition. Goes a little bit longer. Gets extended. I like the over 1.5 there. We roll along. Ion Cutelaba. Betting Ion Cutelaba, what could possibly go wrong? But I am just not fully sold on Aslan. I think this is going to get super chaotic. I think it's going to be a coin flip. I think it's going to be whoever finishes the other one first. And at the price of plus 155, the guy with the more UFC experience, I will take him as a dog. Speaking of what could go wrong, Alonzo Menifield as a favorite. What could possibly go wrong? Playing chalk on Alonzo Menifield? Sign me up. What could go wrong? I just think this is too much of a jump for Julius Walker, man. He's going from peak fighting and Synergy FC to
great
a guy.
Smile, though. What a pick.
Oh, it looks great, man. Love the guy. He's probably got a really bright future ahead of him. But, man, this is a guy who has almost 15 fights in the UFC against the dude who is going from peak fighting and Synergy FC, 6 professional fights under his belt. I like the experience of Alonzo Menifield to get it done. And then I had to do it. Big Robbie Font, that was getting bet no matter who he was facing. It's a biased bet. I'll own up to that. Watch party guest, Fight Feast viewer, and now a member of the Bald Beard brand. We're going to get it done, Robbie. Let's go.
And I hope he does.
Too much on short notice.
After 2.5 rounds.
Hey,
good job,
Font by decision. We thread the needle. Couple of parlays for you. Co-main. I like the youth of Song Yadong. I like the momentum of Anthony Hernandez. I think they both get it done. And then a little prop parlay. Abdul Malik Klein, under 2.5. And Cutelaba Aslan, under 2.5 as well. I think both those fights are just tailor-made for chaos. And I think someone gets finished in those. So, yeah, a lot of bets this weekend, but a lot of fights to be had. I think we're going to have a lot of fun.
It's a fun combat sports weekend.
So that was the UFC Seattle preview, UFC Seattle bets. The only way to tie the bow on UFC Seattle is with our Fight Feasts. We were going to do some sort of restaurant inspired by Seattle. Couldn't find any here in the New York area. So what we did, we hopped in the old Winnebago, head out to Long Island to the Uncrowned Kitchen. We hopped in the kitchen, in the driver's seat, making it ourselves this time. The first time ever cooking Fight Feasts. We are in the kitchen. Please enjoy.
Seattle, Washington. The Space Needle, Pike Place Market, The 12th Man, iCarly, Fight Night Cejudo vs. Song, a place lush with green trees and sparkling waters, synonymous with natural beauty. Too bad we're not in Seattle, Washington. We are here on Trash Can, Long Island. On Long Island? In Long Island? Nobody really knows, but that doesn't mean we can't bring a slice of the Emerald City to us. And we're fortunate enough to have a local Seattle coffee establishment right here in our neck of the woods. Fight Feast, episode 17. For the first time ever, we step into the Uncrowned Kitchen. Let's go. Welcome into the Uncrowned Kitchen. We couldn't find any Seattle-inspired restaurants in New York City, so we decided to take it into our own hands. On the menu today, Seattle-style chicken teriyaki and a Seattle dog. I brought in producer On Air Jordan to be my official sous chef and taste tester. I'm quite nervous. I'm not well equipped in the kitchen, but we're gonna find out. First up, the chicken teriyaki. Let's start cooking. The ingredients that you're gonna need is 1.5 pounds of chicken thighs, half a cup of soy sauce, 1/4 cup of sugar, a tablespoon of mirin, 3 cloves of garlic, and about 1 inch of ginger. All right, in a saucepan, we're gonna add in the soy sauce, the sugar, and the mirin. We're already off to a hot start, making a little mess on the beautiful Uncrowned Kitchen's white countertops. Now we're gonna bring it over here to bring it to a boil. Gotta keep the Uncrowned Kitchen clean, making a fucking mess, huh? We're starting to get a simmer here. Still need the sugar to dissolve. Thanks. That's why we have the sous chef here. We're almost at a boil here on the teriyaki. Woo! Look at that foam. Look at this. I was not expecting this. This is ready. Our teriyaki is ready. All right, while we let the sauce cool, we're gonna chop up some iceberg lettuce for a side salad in Seattle tradition. Slam it down like a football, and then you flip it over, and you twist this guy off. You just chop away. Get it, look at all that crunchy vegetables. I'm not gonna lie, now that I'm cutting this for the first time, I don't think I've ever cut up an iceberg lettuce before. It's an explosion of lettuce over this cutting board. All right, we're gonna take the chopped up iceberg, not much to this salad, put it in a bowl. Get your favorite ginger dressing. Just go ahead and pour a little bit of that in there. Grab a pair of tongs, use your hands if you're a Neanderthal. Mix it up. Nothing special about this. Just a sampling before we go here. The longest piece of lettuce in the world. Refreshing. All right, now that your sauce has cooled, grab your blender. We're gonna put this all into the blender. This is key. This is what makes it Seattle-style chicken teriyaki. If I see you making this without the garlic and the ginger, I'm sending Michael Chiesa to your house, okay? Michael Chiesa will haunt your fucking dreams if you don't make it with garlic and ginger. Put your lid on, head over to your blender. All right, now you got your marinade done. It is time to marinate the chicken. Get a plastic bag, get your chicken. I'm gonna load it on up into the old Ziploc. And then we're gonna pour 3/4 of the marinade in. I'm gonna save the rest to use as a sauce later. It smells incredible. I'm gonna take the air out, fold it over, cover all that chicken, press all the air out, get it out. We wanna get this nice and flavorful. Zip it up, then we're gonna let that marinate for about 8 hours. Good news, power production. We already got one waiting for us. 8 hours in the old fridge, marinated teriyaki chicken ready to go. Let's hit the pan. Add your chicken to the pan. Listen to that sizzle, huh? I mean, come on, it's the attention to detail here, folks. It's the attention to detail why we're the best in the biz. Listen to that fucking sizzle. Listen to that sizzle. Nice, down. Jordan says I'm gonna cut my fingers. Just kidding, guys. I'm a pro. Take your rice, pack it down. Producer here told us it was the Matterhorn? The ramekin. We're gonna get this nice and tight, make it a beautiful shape. And then you just flop it down. Boom. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that plating. Look at that shit, Jordan. This might as well be a restaurant. Now let's chop our chicken, add in our green onions, All right, we brought in the big boys. Time to cut up the chicken. Look at this. Look at the caramelization. Look at this color. It's absolutely beautiful, cooked to perfection. I'm gonna chop this up now. Nervous about my fingers now, Jordan? Got the fork. Oh, look at that. Let me just get a little nibble, sneak a little nibble in. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's fantastic. Oh, when you get the crispy little burnt ends with all the flavor in it. Okay. All right, to plate, add your chicken. Don't be shy. Get it on there. This is the worst plating job in history. Sesame seeds here. And then some green onion. Finish this off, some scallions, some green onion. Seattle style chicken teriyaki. Now I want you to imagine, it looks a little bit dry. Imagine a cascading river, a flowing waterfall, Jordan, a flowing waterfall of teriyaki sauce. But no, we cleaned it in the sink, so we don't have that. We're gonna try it just like this. All right, sous chef Jordan joined me here. Did a little bit better of a job plating it, but it's gonna taste the same. Regardless, it's all going to the same place.
You cooked it, so you eat first, so I know it's safe.
Yeah, we'll see if I poisoned it or not. Here we go.
Try to get a little bit. Not gonna lie, it's really good.
It's not bad.
Not bad.
I mean, if we had some sauce to go on top of it, it'd be even better.
Someone messed it up, yeah.
We lost some rice to the cause. The sesame seed, the green onion.
Shout out to Seattle.
Oh, this is cooking, baby. Ginger side salad.
Get that crunch. You'll get the crunch on the mic. I would eat this breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know who's really missing out because he loves some Asian food?
NewYorkRic, thanks for coming, man. Not Mysterious Frank behind the camera either. Uncrowned Kitchen, one dish in, an absolute hit. This one's pretty simple. It's mostly just about the assembly. We're gonna throw these in the pan, saute them. Never boil your hot dogs. Please, for the love of God, do not boil your hot dogs, you sick people. The Seattle dog, the way it started was actually a vegetarian bagel cart owner. Started selling his bagels, and then late at night, people started requesting hot dogs so much, he said, you know what? I'll throw a hot dog in a bun, add cream cheese to it. The bagel dog, the Seattle dog was born, and that's that. All right, for the Seattle dogs, you're gonna need all beef Frank hot dogs. Funny, we're eating Franks, but Frank ain't here. Some brown mustard, sliced jalapenos, sauteed onions, and then the thing that makes it the Seattle dog, cream cheese. Talked about it the other day on the show. Look at the caraway. Look at the navy blue caraway. Look at the touch, the attention to detail. You always want your pan to match your shirt. I mean, you want it to match your shirt. You also want it to match the pedometer. I mean, we're rocking a fit right now. We're looking great. Shout out to Caraway. Non-stick. All right, we always lose the magnet. Frankie, I found it. There it is. Nice. All right, it's time to plate the dogs. Toasted our buns to perfection, nice and soft and crunchy. Base layer cream cheese in there. Oh yeah, yeah. Now, the dogs. A nice just resting place, a nice bed of cream cheese for the dog to lay on. We're gonna go mustard next. You always want the liquid condiments to have direct contact with the meat, with the dog. That's key when you have this here. Look at this spoon. Doesn't get much cuter than this spoon. Yep. Make it look pretty, Now it's time for the onions, caramelized to perfection. I mean, doesn't get much better than that. Hot dogs and caramelized onions go together like a movie and a soundtrack. Yeah. There we go. And then to finish it off, just some nice little accessories, I would almost say. Jalapenos on top. And maybe a rip on one too, just to really get the aesthetic. Half there, maybe a half in the middle there. And there you go. 2 Seattle dogs, order up. We got producer on air, Jordan, here with me. Hates cream cheese, absolutely despises it. And what is the signature of this hot dog? None other than cream cheese. Go ahead. Grab it, big dog.
Really not excited for this one.
Here we go.
Chicken teriyaki.
Cheers, my man. Cheers. You a head turner or you go, okay, you're a head turner. All right, we learned that.
Surprisingly, very good.
Okay, I got cream cheese falling out the ass of my hot dog over here. Whoa.
Cream cheese, not overpowering.
No.
Jalapenos, nice pick. And I mean, caramelized onions.
This is fantastic. This is like...
I would eat this 100 out of 100.
Like, I think this is better than like a Chicago dog.
I'm gonna go for a second bite.
Hates cream cheese.
Don't like cream cheese.
Went for a second bite.
Maybe a third. I mean,
Let's just finish
I feel
it.
like Rick eating the Vegemite, you know?
Down the hash, baby. Seattle dogs, man. Shout out.
Seattle knows ball.
Better than I was expecting. Maybe I might even put more jalapenos on it next time. Shout out.
Good job.
I don't know. Cameras are done rolling. Jordan just admitted he loves that. Bravo. Bravo. All right, that is a wrap for the first episode in the Uncrowned Kitchen. And just for all the conspiracy theorists out there, no rat. We didn't have the ratatouille situation going on. Seattle dogs, cream cheese in the books. Seattle style chicken teriyaki. Shout out to the garlic, shout out to the ginger in the books. And shout out to UFC Seattle, Henry Cejudo, Song Yadong. Can't wait for the card. Can't wait for the next time we get into the Uncrowned Kitchen. I'm only getting better. Master Chef, Iron Chef coming soon. Can't wait. All right, we said we were gonna bring the Emerald City to us, and if you've ever been to Pike Place Market, you've seen the fish throws at the fish market. You throw the big fish down and you catch it. We got us a nice big branzino. It's not a Seattle salmon, but we're gonna give it a go. Here we go. Hey, are you ready, kid? Here we go. 1, 2, shoot. Oh, shit. Give me a light toss. Oh, shit, yeah, kid's got hands. Whoa. Hey, oh. Glove ripped open. Bleeding. I bleed for this game.
It's a branzino, it's not a snapper.
Yeah. I hope that was on camera. Nah, it's a branzino, not a snapper. Red 80. Red 80. Hold on. Jesus, Jordan. Have some respect for the dead.
Catch of the day.
Look at this fucking porn. I'm living in Seattle right now. We brought the city to us. Yes, sir. I left my Seattle dog in the basement. Let me go get it.
Okay.
Hey, mic check. Hey, I'm fucking walking in. Hey, I'm walking in. Hey, I'm fucking walking in. Nothing like the natural beauty of Long Island. I mean, couple Legos, Monster Energy, bath rug. You need a bath rug? We leave any Newports for me? Give me a Newport. Look at this ad. They don't know a game like this. Seattle Sonics tag still on. Look at the old school new era, the official license. It pains me. We have to lose it. Too bad. We're not in Seattle, Washington. We're in trash. Fucking trash can Long Island. Too bad. We're not in Seattle, Washington. We're in fucking dog shit Long Island. All right, that is a wrap for the first foray into the There you have it. First time in the kitchen. On air Jordan, on camera.
Making his debut.
Seattle dog. Cream
Jordan.
cheese on a hot dog, better than you thought, huh, Jordan?
I was about to say, known cream cheese hater. How do we
I
feel,
had one
Jordan?
last night.
Wow.
Shut up. You made one last night for real?
Yeah.
You're lying.
Me and Mrs. On Air.
I know you are absolutely lying
I
right now.
swear my life.
He's a Seattle dog convert.
I had pickled jalapenos already made, so I threw those on instead.
You pickled them yourself?
I did.
Someone's mom was at the Uncrowned Kitchen, ate the entire hot dog. We had a couple leftovers, ate the entire thing.
How did you feel? What was the review ultimately?
Chicken teriyaki was chicken teriyaki. It was just good. The cream cheese in the hot dog was incredible.
Wow. So the combo is they
great.
nailed something.
They nailed something.
I feel like the jalapenos would get me in. The cream cheese would make me go, But I feel like
it's not as overpowering as you think it's going to be.
You know, it's funny. Like I was thinking the whole time, I was like, man, I would have really liked to taste that. And the way I would have tasted that could have been to like be there. You know, my name came up several times. Yeah. I hear Jordan saying it. I hear you saying it. And all of a sudden.
Frank mentioned the same thing. He's just like, blah, blah, blah. Last week, Frank hit me with the old like,
well, like, do you want, like, if you want me to come, like,
After 3 days of not
I guess, like,
being asked.
I guess,
to
like,
come.
I can. You were asked the entire time, Frank. You've done every fight feast with me.
You got to do the old foreplay, or I'm not into it.
Well,
See, I don't play that game where I need to beg you. Like it's just like, hey, everybody, here's the plan for Fight Feast, and then you actually teed it up. You're like, well, like, do you want me to come, man? I'm like, of course, Frank. I'd love to have you there. I'm not gonna beg you to come or anything, but like, if you'd like to come, please come.
You violently shook your head from left to right. I thought you actually were having a seizure,
you guys
and I was
both
like,
played
oh
this
no,
game.
he's saying no. He's saying no.
I can't speak for Flaky Frank. Like I can't speak for him. He's a separate entity. You know, here's the location and time.
Oh yeah,
text never came
we were
for
told,
me.
Yeah,
so
we were gonna get the address.
No, I was never told that. I was told like you were just like, well, I don't think I really want to come. I can't be bothered on a Saturday.
that's a Jordan. I mean, that's a Frank, not a Jordan. Jordan was there.
We would have loved to have you.
You know, I just missed the location and time.
You got to take a little more initiative, you know.
I did notice Jordan dropping that fish though.
No hands on, kid.
Nah,
No hands on.
Little left to be
Still
desired
recovering
there.
from my cut here, but we'll be all right.
I will say though, the second catch, staying in bounds, and then the spike, that was something.
Spike felt
impressive.
a little
it was
over the top. Felt a little like
much
anger.
You were mad at that fish clearly.
Yeah, I saw someone in the chat say they're sending a letter to PETA.
Yeah, it feels like
Yeah,
that.
it
Feels
wasn't
like that's
great.
proper. Feels like that's proper. We ended up cooking it up though. Shout out to Branzino.
Well done. Look, that was a fun watch.
It was fun.
I would have loved to be there, but it was.
We
it
tried
was a
to
fun
do
watch,
it. I figured
you
we tried
know.
to do it. You were more than welcome to come
Just
the entire time.
no location, no time. How am I supposed to get there?
Please tell me I have to come. I can't do it without you. I can't do it without you.
I assume there was
Please
a chat where somebody knew how to get there. I mean, Jordan just magically appeared, but I never got.
Jordan actually reached out and said, "What's the address? I'll see you guys on whatever day you're filming." You know,
Better
a little bit
man
of
than me.
initiative.
Jordan, you got some brown, right?
Better man than me.
Frank, you wanted me to brown you, Frank. You were like, beg me.
It wouldn't
me to
hurt.
come.
Just a little.
Beg me to come so I can stand there.
A little brown. Never
All
hurt
right.
anyone.
Only way to finish the show now.
Yes.
It's a lot. It's been a lot.
I'm actually
It's
really
been a long
excited
show.
for this. I'm stoked. Pound for pound.
Pound for pound rankings.
This is where we just
Seattle
display it
music
right here on the
acts
screen.
From the 90s.
There goes Frankie. He's got to do that.
Starting
Yeah,
at
yeah.
number 5. Got Pearl Jam, you know? Yeah. No, anyway, I will go first, but all joking aside.
Fantasy fight venues.
We have to set it up, yeah. Based on Teofimo, the Ring magazine saying that Teofimo Lopez will be...
Teofimo Lopez.
What did I say?
Teofimo. Tia.
What?
Either way, Teofimo
Lopez is fighting, is
potentially
fighting on the prison island of Alcatraz, which is insane.
On Alcatraz?
I guess because it's an island you go on, but like he is fighting at whatever it is.
I'm only kidding.
Alcatraz on Long Island.
I know how much it fires people up.
But Jordan's a real Long Islander. I'm a city boy. He's born and raised.
So places
Alcatraz,
like that.
places that are like places that would blow your mind to know that somebody's doing a fight here. Because when I heard this, I was like,
honestly, like
this fighting at Alcatraz.
The Sphere's a good example of one. Like something like really crazy and out there.
Kind of a venue. Like
it's a venue, sure, but like Alcatraz is crazy.
Alcatraz.
Fantasy fight venues. Frank, kick
Frank,
us
go
off.
first.
All right, so coming in at number 5, Meteor Crater, Arizona.
Oh.
So there's an actual well-preserved meteor crater in Arizona. It's about 3/4 of a mile in diameter. And I can't imagine, because when I envision this fight, I'm thinking like superhero status. The Earth can't even contain what's going on in the middle of it.
No picture, eh?
Yeah, no picture. At number 4, a crude oil barge. So I was envisioning, like a cruise ship or something that they can actually fight on, but you need a nice flat surface. So if you get a crude oil barge, you're going to be able to have the fans all huddled around.
Yeah.
But as the thing's hitting the waves, people are getting knocked off their feet, whatever, get back up.
No picture again, huh?
No, I don't think it's working right now. Number 3, Moab, Utah. Now this one, because it's not working, you got to use your mind's eye and envision, old Roadrunner and the Coyote. That's exactly what Moab, Utah looks like. Great place to fight. Beautiful scene. Going to number 2. Probably don't need to use your mind's eye for this one because it's Grand Central Terminal, not to be mistaken with Grand Central Station. It's the actual terminal. You got that beautiful
green turquoise
ceiling
roof.
going on there.
Yeah.
But don't let that distract you because there is a actual bloodbath battle happening on the floor. And then at number 1, honestly, it's the GOAT. It's the Coliseum.
Yeah.
They say it's not functioning anymore. Put a fight in there, and now all of a sudden the Coliseum is
Who's
open
they?
for business. I actually don't know who they are. I don't like them.
Yeah,
The
I don't like
Coliseum,
them
number
either.
1.
Very, very strong list, Frank. You've redeemed yourself.
Yeah. This is a
Redeem
fine
yourself.
list. No pictures. I mean, this feels
Yeah,
like a
you
very
know.
visually
Yeah, that
appealing
is-
one. I mean, no pictures feels kind of crazy.
Coliseum one though. That's like you're in the right direction
Yeah.
there. You're locked
Yeah,
in. Who's going next?
You go ahead, Rick.
Actually,
You want me to go next?
Rick's going next.
Okay, Rick's.
Oh, that's what you said though. Okay, going next. Me. Sorry, got to bring up my list here. Wasn't prepared. Okay, number 5. This one's a location, but also there has to be a specific fight. Maybe not even a fight, a fighter that's going to be there, and that's one Easter Island.
Wow! Son of a bitch.
That's Easter Island in Chile, specifically for the Moai statues, and one Alex Pereira must be there.
Great call. Great call.
Alex Pereira fighting in the Green Hills,
Great
just
call.
like stood there with these statues. It would be an absolute incredible experience. I mean, also just like I had a chance to like dig through the photos. Quite a captivating place.
Beautiful
like
island.
truly
Beautiful
beautiful. Would be incredible. Easter Island, Alex Pereira, that pairing. The rest of these, they're not fighter dependent. Number 4, we're going shadowy here. We're going underground. We're going Area 51, baby. If we can, you know what? For the first time ever, I like the sound effect. I dug the sound effect. Good job, Frankie. Good job, Frankie, and Jordan, who I'm sure
Area 51,
had a hand in it.
I love that.
Highly classified Air Force facility at Groom Lake in southern Nevada. Like this is it. Like this is. If you can get, first of all, we don't even know what this looks like. We don't even know what this would be.
Little alien theme.
Having the fights in there would be an experience because now we're seeing inside of what Area 51 is. We do not know. It would be incredible. Area 51. Number 3, the Coliseum. I'm with you, Frank.
All-timer.
I'm with you. Like the history, located in Rome, Italy, the largest ancient amphitheater ever built and still the largest standing amphitheater in the world. Home of the gladiators, like this. Look, I mean, just see this scene. If you plopped an octagon in the middle, or even a boxing ring, whatever we do, and you fill this thing, the history, the feel there would be incredible.
Yeah.
Number 2, this would be something to pull off here. South Lawn, the White House.
Wow.
in DC.
I know
South
joke was going
Lawn.
to do that too.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, there it is.
Plop that octagon down in front of the White House, or actually the back of the White House because it's a South Lawn.
I love that.
It would be the announcement that UFC, that MMA is the official sport of the United States of America. President Donald Trump saying,
Love that.
Dana White, you give me
Yeah.
Ilia versus Islam right here on maybe we have an American fighter, but we do an American fighter on the South Lawn of the White House. And here's number 1. You're gonna have to come along on a journey with me.
Okay,
So,
I can't wait for this. Wow.
so this is it. You're an MMA fan. You're a fight fan.
Yeah.
I tell you, you're gonna experience something you will never experience again, once in a lifetime. But I can't tell you what it is.
Oh.
You're gonna pay me $30K a seat, and we're gonna kidnap you and take you to my number 1, an undisclosed location where you don't know what is happening.
This is number 1?
You don't know the fight.
What the fuck is this? And I'm paying $30K a seat? Do I
You
even
don't-
get a seat?
You don't know the fight. You don't know the location, and you
Amityville has
never
really
will.
gotten to you,
They're
hasn't
gonna blindfold you. They're gonna blindfold you, and they're gonna take you. So now it may not be the middle of the forest. I just picked like a shadowy kind of dark scene. You're paying premium, but you're promised a premium product. Nobody in the venue, wherever we end up going, knows where it is. It
Okay,
is
all right. So it's going to be like a sold out crowd.
sold out crowd in a location that nobody knows. There's no identifying marks.
And it's
You're in a room.
a premium product, so like it's going to be a
It's going to be a
big fight.
huge fight. It's going to be
Okay.
worth the money.
Whoa.
You and the people in that room are the only ones who will know that experience. There
Wow.
will be no redos. There will be no way that anybody
You can't
else can
speak
have
of it?
that. And
It's like Fight Club?
it's Fight Club, but also if you tried to, what would you even say? You don't know where it is. You don't know what the hell is going on. You've been blindfolded. You've been kidnapped. You've been stuffed in a van. You've been brought to this undisclosed location, and
This
you have a
is
once in
insane.
a lifetime experience, and then you return to civilization later.
All right, I think you might have won with that one.
Undisclosed
That was
location.
creative. That was good. That was creative. I actually really appreciate that one. All right, I think Rick's in the lead right now. I
All
think
right.
Rick's in the lead. All right, here we go. I will kick mine off we couldn't do actual fantasy places, Planet Namek or like
That would have been sick.
anything like that. I mean, I was gonna say Planet Namek, and producer on air Jordan nixed me on that. So we got to go through places.
Whoa. That would be senior top dog. Nix that.
No, you nixed it through him. You said no, we can't have this.
That's right, Jordan.
Yeah. The old speaking of browners over here, Uyuni Salt Flats, my number 5. This is the biggest salt flat on earth in Bolivia. They've actually held a concert here.
Holy shit.
Yeah, they did this. So, like, you can get things out there. And what if you just plopped an octagon in there? Looks pretty sick.
On like a barge. Oh,
yeah,
you did it.
Looks pretty sick. Yeah, that isn't real. Like, that's like inches of standing water. It's not a lot of water. Salt flats, biggest salt flats on earth. Uyuni Salt Flats. Shout out to Bolivia. Maybe get a couple Bolivian fighters on there. Number 4, The Edge in New York City. So imagine this, 100 stories up standing over New York City, a patio, you're overlooking the Manhattan skyline, 360-degree views is what their website says, but I'm not sure how that porch would provide it. Plop an octagon on it. Look at that. That'd be badass. Yeah. Shout out to The Edge. The Edge NYC. Throw an octagon up there. Number 3, I'm actually going to go the same as you, a Powhatan fight on Easter Island.
Respect.
But I'm going to go a step further.
Oh.
Shama. Let's plop an octagon on that bad boy. Look at that. Look at that pristine,
So
beautiful.
crazy.
The water would only look better if you threw an octagon down on it. Yeah, look at
Specifically
that.
one
thing.
at a 45-degree tilt, right?
One at a 45-degree tilt, and then let me one up you. Co-main event. You put Ignacio Bahamondes, the pride of Chile, on there. Shout out.
I love it.
Easter Island.
I love it.
Number 2.
What do we got?
Another idea we're stealing, just like the concert in the Uyuni Salt Flats, the Burj Al Arab helipad, where Roger Federer and Andre Agassi played an exhibition tennis match. Look at that thing hanging over the water, however many stories up, would look even better. Look at that. Look at the boys, Federer, Agassi, legends, would look even better. If you plopped an octagon on that bad boy, that thing would look sick, man. All the way up there, no fans. You just get the helicopters floating around it, getting all the video footage of it. And then they land the helipad afterward. It would be
sick.
It would be just incredible. And then number 1, I mean, it's the place that we all want. It's the place that we all want. The Coliseum. All the history there, the
Coliseum.
gladiators. It's a no-brainer. You said... Is that the wrong one there, Jordan? I did want to throw out an alternative because the Coliseum's so impossible. Pula Arena in Croatia is what I was showing there. It's a backup. It's over 2,000 years old. They've held soccer games there. They've held tennis matches there. So it actually operates, unlike the Coliseum doesn't operate. You showed a picture earlier, though. You said, imagine if there was an octagon in there. I did that for you. Boom! Plop an octagon in that
You
bad
also
boy.
picked a way better photo. What a sick
Put an
photo.
octagon in that bad boy. Maybe outside. Joe Daspinall. Look at that. We already got the promotion going for it, baby.
Okay,
Coliseum.
so we need a Coliseum fight is basically what we've arrived at. Like
I think-
Elon Musk and,
I think that's
and
the
Mark
pinnacle.
Zuckerberg being like, we're going to fight at the Coliseum. That was the
You do a
that was
fight
the
at the
right
Coliseum. That is the absolute pinnacle. Couple of honorable mentions. We got a couple minutes. Times Square would be really cool. They've mentioned that. Turkey
I was
Ellis
trying to
League.
think of the perfect New York one. I feel like the Edge could be cool. I feel like Frank's. I thought of Grand Central.
Grand Central would be cool.
I was thinking subway tunnel, but here's one of the keys. I thought it had to be fan accessible.
Yeah.
Like your one up there, you need fans to be able
So
to
you
sit.
can actually. There's actually like a. You could only hold like maybe 1,000 people, but there is like a big like giant staircase there
that people can
could
sit on. Okay, that's pretty cool.
The pyramids.
Yeah.
Pyramids of Giza would be pretty cool. I don't know if Elon could pull this off. The moon. Maybe the ISS, International Space Station. The Acropolis in Greece. Red Square in Russia. All the history there with Russian mixed martial artists. All right, another one I thought of in New York. The Vessel in Hudson Yards. You have all the fans. Like, I wish we had a picture of it. It looks like the Beehive. You have all the fans like surrounding it, all just like vertically down on it. Yeah, Eiffel Tower.
New York lends itself to a few of these because it's just like everything in New York feels impossible because of the space and because of how many people.
The Shaolin Temple.
Shaolin temples, hell yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool places.
I'm surprised nobody said a volcano like Mauna Kea or something like that, especially you, Rick.
Volcano would be cool.
Maybe, listen, maybe that undisclosed location is a volcano, but nobody knows.
You never know. You never know.
That's why it's so good. Nobody knows.
Someone says Taj Mahal.
I thought Taj Mahal, like there's the problem that I was having with this exercise was there's so many like historic landmarks or beautiful places you can almost kind of get lost in it.
I'm seeing a lot of people saying the boys in the back AH show set. Let's just move the desk out and let's just start throwing some haymakers here. UFC Coachella? Yeah, Greece. Greece would be a cool one. Rockefeller Center Octagon where the ice rink is.
Oh shit.
That would be sick. That would be sick. Top of the St. Louis Arch, that would be a little bit tough.
I was thinking, you know, can you do the Statue of Liberty? Can you do it in there? But it's tough. It's tough. But I feel like we landed on some good ones. Clearly, Coliseum. They have to do the Coliseum.
Mount Everest.
Turkey. I mean, hey, Turkey. You know, it's doable. You got to do it.
Soul Flats. Yeah, man. People saying great choice by GC to go with Namek. That's so lame of everyone to nix that. I cannot believe they did that to you. These guys
you
are
love
so
the
lame.
weebs. You definitely have connected with these like anime kids in a certain way,
Shout
for
out
sure.
to Namek. I mean, it could have been a great one. One of the greatest battles in history.
It could be if it was real.
Wow, Ryan Walsh just got the Sanhagen Figgy news. He said, holy shit. I think the holy shit is about it being in Des Moines. He's shocked about that. Oh, wow, someone's calling for an Andy versus Rick bike race. Wow, we'll start the contender series up. Someone said the North Pole gets Santa's fat ass involved.
That's not bad.
He's a little aggressive towards Santa. Streets of Staten Island. A warehouse. A warehouse in Las Vegas. The UFC Apex. That is actually a great one. Sorry, I guess I thought that was way funnier than everyone else.
No, that was good.
Key West Bridge. There's some good ones, man. GC, you might have gotten that with the photo of the octagons. Thank you. I
feel like my Alex Pereira Photoshop was pretty good. I don't know. That was fun.
All right.
Let's answer some super chats.
Super chats and then we're out. Christ the Redeemer statue in Brazil. Shout out Casey Fields.
I feel like one of the keys to this was it had to have like a venue to it. It couldn't just be like we're plopped in front of something.
Yeah,
you know?
Got to have the audience there, I think is important.
Yeah, audience important.
So Sleeto starts us off.
Legend.
Sean Brady truly is ducking GC.
Yeah,
for
man.
shame.
I didn't want to say it. I didn't say it, but yeah, it feels like the ducking allegations are pretty true at this point.
Yeah, it's hard to deny at this point. What else?
Rick G. Holy shit, boys. What fight are you most excited
Legend.
for?
It's a good question.
I'm excited. I'm most excited for the fight that hasn't been booked yet, Islam Ilia. Of the ones that have been booked, man, I really do love that Chandler Patty fight.
for me.
I think that one's going to be super exciting.
God, Yair and Patricio is going to be sick too.
Oh,
holy shit.
they're all going to be sick. Projects Jeff Neal.
I think Chandler Patty, but I reserve I reserve the right to change my mind.
Scott G. I'm thinking the UFC will put Jones versus Aspinall and Islam versus Topuria on same card to sell millions of pay-per-views so they could pay Jones his $30 million. What say you?
I mean, that would be incredible, but there's just no chance.
Yeah,
you can't use like four of your biggest stars on the same pay-per-view, though that would do incredible numbers. That would get the people talking, but no, I doubt it.
Yeah, no.
Dominic C. Can I get a shout out for my baby girl's birthday, Giga, and my wife who watches all the pay-per-views with me, Micah? Also, has GC heard Tough One intro music? Cue GFL.
No, I have not. Shout out to...
He's listening.
Shout out to Giga. Shout out to Mika. Happy birthday. Shout out to Dominic C as well. We appreciate you more than you know. Sleeto did have a good point. He said, Rick, gotta have a venue there. Also, Rick, undisclosed location.
Undisclosed location.
They have time to build a venue in the
No, there is a venue. You just don't know where it is. I'm sorry.
Okay,
brother.
all right.
Terrence.
Wait. Sorry. While we're doing shout outs, I just want to do two quickly. Shout out to my guy Sammy, who wrote, "Thank you to you and the crew for your work throughout the years. The show has helped me through some tough times. Having that amount of guests per week in and week out says a lot about you, Ariel, and the crew. Wish the crew all the best for the rest of the year and looking forward to more shows, especially the in-studio guests. Greetings from Sammy in Sweden." Shout out to Sammy. He messages me quite a bit. Seems like a solid dude. And then I want to give another shout out quickly to Jericho. He says he and his new wife, Kara, just got married on the 13th of February and found out they were going to be parents. Appreciate your time and all your team does. Looking forward to a game of MTG. So this is the guy who wrote yesterday. He wants to play me in Magic the Gathering. Congratulations. Married, kid on the way, doing big things. This birthday one reminded me of that. So shout out to Jericho and to Sammy.
And shout out to Jericho still has the eye on the prize.
Yeah.
It's got to be an MTG match.
He does.
Gotta be.
Terrence Leverett writes, with Ilia moving up, who had a better run? Conor or Ilia at 145? Also, hot take, they are going to give Ilia to Charles, and it's the fight to make. I think Charles beats him. Last fight at 155, scary.
So shout out to Terrence, man. We really appreciate that, first and foremost.
Yeah, Terrence is a regular for us.
The Charles Ilia, I just don't see it happening. I just think that they're going to give him Islam. I don't think he would vacate the belt. I don't think he would go up to 155 with such certainty if he thought he was just going to get a contender fight.
So here's the thing. I mean, Conor's run at featherweight, he shares a win over Max Holloway. Now, granted, I think this version of Max Holloway that Ilia beat is obviously better, but he also had a win over what many considered the featherweight GOAT at the time in Aldo, and then Ilia in what many considered the GOAT by this point with Volkanovski. They're pretty comparable. The names on the resume to me are better for Conor McGregor, but Ilia's run was short-lived, but pretty impressive. I do not think it will be Charles. It will be Islam.
Sleeto chimes back in. I need PT's pick so I can bet on the opposite.
Oh, he's
John
fading
Silva,
PT already.
Melzik Bagdasarian plus 370 or whatever he is your lock of the week.
Alec in the Slice says, shout out to Jordan for pulling a GFL on the parlay.
Shout out to Jordan for pulling a GFL on the parlay.
Or protect your assets. Make sure they don't go on the screen before they are announced.
You ought to know best, this ain't no chance. I'm a dragon my town.
All right, is that it?
No, actually.
Oh, sick. All right, let's keep it going, man.
Shrin Daddy, Newark, Ohio, Longburger Basket
Yeah,
Building
holy
should be
shit,
#1.
yes. Shout out to the Longer Basket Building. Longer Burger Basket Building, that thing is sick. Rooftop of that would be sick.
That's wild.
That's a great call. God, that's
wild.
a great call. That's a great call. That's a great call. I should have done more shaped buildings. I really should have. I'm disappointed in myself. Great call, Trend Daddy.
24-inch dubs. Teddy Roosevelt had boxing at the White House. Beep.
I think it's more beep.
Beep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty gnarly, and I think it's time for a comeback. I think we just set up shop on the South Lawn, and we got a UFC event there. I mean, honestly, does it even feel crazy? Like, does it feel possible? It honestly feels like not that crazy to me.
Feels like Turkey can do just about anything.
No, forget Turkey. Trump and Dana White get together and throw that bad boy at the White House. All right,
man, I really blew it. The Hood, the milk company, they have a building shaped like a
milk carton,
bottle of milk. There's Lucy the elephant. I mean, there's the fish building in India. God, the Sanrio Strawberry House. There's a lot of places shaped like things. The big pineapple, man, I blew it. Shout out Trend Daddy. All right, anything else, Frankie?
Breaking news.
Elvis Prez asked to hit the breaking news sound again, please.
You fucker. Yeah, that was great, Elvis. I was locking in to be like, what
holy
the
shit,
fuck
what else do we
We'd be
got?
sleeping tonight, hear the breaking news in your head, and like jerk
Yes.
awake and be like, oh.
What a wild.
By the way,
it's
Frank,
4 o'clock.
good job on the sound effect. It was good today.
It's 4 o'clock. The news came out at like 10:30 last night. So like, what a crazy 18 hours. What a crazy 18 hours. And we're just getting started here. Good for rehearsal, right, Frankie?
Not bad for rehearsal. Tune in tomorrow. We've got the crack. Don't miss the crack right here, 1 p.m. on this channel. And Saturday, 3
Watch
p.m.
party with us,
Eastern.
boys.
Watch party with us.
Come on,
We get to
3
watch
o'clock Eastern.
Coley and Parker now.
Coley and Parker, Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. Watch the crack. Watch the watch party. Thanks for joining us. See you next week.